Boo 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 boo. Where is it? Where did you go? Then I started singing. I almost started singing. Get in trouble around here for that thing, for that kind of stuff. Where did that go? There we go. Wait, what happened? No, come on. Come on. There we go. All right. Get out of there. Let's get back to here. Yep. Da 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 All right, back to where I was. Uh, you can hear me, right, Adam? You're still there? Can you hear me well? Can you hear me well? Whoa! Good money now. Thanks for the $10 donation. He says, "Peace, fam. Digging the content. A care package for a care package to set things off. Appreciate that. Thank you." Bruce Kent, finally some relief. Yeah, I hear you good, says Adam. Good. Just gonna wait for a few more people to get in before we get started. Uh, pre- I gotta remember to look at the camera. Be prepared to be here a while. Oh my goodness. What am I doing this for? I feel safe here. Yeah, me too. There's crazy stuff going on around us. I don't want to get into that here. I want this to be a sanctuary to have some fun and enjoy what we all enjoy, which is video games. Um, there is um, there is better venues to talk about that stuff, but I'm all in and in support, and that's all we'll touch on here. I'm sure you know, you guys are all hip, so I'm not worried about that. Please don't. We know, says Bruce Kent. Yeah, I'm not going there. Um, this is the sanctuary. There's plenty of time for that, venues for that. Things are happening well, so uh, that's all good. Actually, I want to test something. Um, I'll make sure my camera. Why did I do that? I'm gonna make sure because I'm using my iPad. Um, GameCube over politics, no doubt. Definitely way more fun. Um, yeah, so I'm using my iPad tonight because PC problems. What can I say? My PC just decided maybe a week ago just to start randomly turning itself off. So I didn't want to risk starting a live stream of this nature and then having it dropped because my PC decided to go to sleep. I don't know what the problem is. I guess I'll have to start troubleshooting again. I think it might be my graphics card. It's not overheating because I added an extra fan, so I don't know what the problem is right now. I might take it to somebody else to look at it because I'm just so frustrated with that thing. See if they can figure it out. I've done research trying to figure out online what's up, but you know, hashtag please don't we know. Absolutely. All right. All right. Hopefully, just a few more folks to get in here. Just a couple more, so I can get started. um, Inglorious Bastards. What's up? Oh, what's up? By the way, to everybody. Bruce Kent, obviously. Adam Phillip. Good money now. Thanks again for the donation. Much appreciated. Let's see. Let's show that. I gotta find a way to automatically let explicit comments show up. So yeah, that's why my angle may look a little different, and just maybe the quality. I don't know. I can't really tell. It looks like I got good quality. I'm looking at the feed on my iPhone here. Looks pretty good. Sell what? What are you talking about, Bruce? So what? Sell my stuff? Uh, Sell my collection? What are you saying? Betty. All right. Just a couple more minutes. We'll get started. I thought I'd have, especially, maybe it's because I haven't streamed or had a video in a while. I was out of town. So maybe people just ain't checking for me right now. Make sure you hit the like button. Looks like you guys all did. But, well, most of you did. A couple of you can still hit that like button. Why is my live? All right, so let's try this again. All right, getting back in there. All right. All right. About 1 minute. 1 minute and we'll get started. 1 minute. Hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button. I think, yeah, everything looks pretty good. This actually looks better than my video-wise. It's a little jumpy. It's probably because everybody's on Wi-Fi right now, and I have to do this on Wi-Fi because I'm using my iPad, so stuck there. But looks good though. Everything looks good. All right, let me get the live chat up here so I can make sure you see. Yeah, sell your equipment. Says Bruce. Just kidding. Yeah, hopefully it won't come to that. No, but we're good so far. See if I turn it sideways, it's going to do that. I guess that's fine. I want to keep this on charger because I don't want my stuff to die here. I wish I could see. Let's see if I tap the screen. Nope, nothing's happening there. I was saying I wish I could see my battery, but I'm plugged in, so it should be fine. All right, let's get this like that. I don't really want to do it like that, but all right. Back to live chat. All right. So let's go ahead and start. Okay. All right. So you guys know this is my long-awaited GameCube collection live stream. This is going to take some time. I wasn't able to make the thumbnail and all that stuff because, again, can't use my PC. Well, I can use it, but I don't trust it, so I couldn't upload it, the thumbnail and all that. I'll do it later. But my GameCube collection is 100 plus games. I think around 111 or 12. 112. I think that's about right. Bruce Kane, how do you feel about Xenoblade While We Wait? Xenoblade? You mean Xenoblade Chronicles that just came out? I don't have it, but I have Xenoblade Chronicles on Wii. I pretty much rinsed it there. I have it on 3DS as well. I love the game. I was one of the people. I wasn't as okay. I wasn't as into the Operation Rainfall thing at the time. I was kind of aware of it, but yeah, I was very happy to get the game finally, even though it was kind of a disjointed thing. I'm just not in a rush to get Chronicles because I'm not gonna have time to play it. I already played it, and I want to. I know there's new content and stuff, and I'll get into that. But I don't have the huge desire to go back and play it right now. But I will pick up the game eventually because it does look a lot better than the Wii version. And it looks, it's been confirmed to be a remaster, not a ground-up remake, which it's not. It never looked like one. If you were a person who's played the Wii game, even the 3DS one, you could tell that it wasn't ground up or anything, which is fine. I don't know why people had to have that game be a ground-up game. It clearly isn't. Clearly wasn't. If you were a veteran of the game, you could look at it and tell it wasn't a ground-up. But didn't have to be. It still looks good. I don't know why people get bent out of shape or get all twisted up in knots about that stuff. But anyway, I saw somebody say something about Star Fox Assault Keeper. What about Star Fox Assault? Are you asking me, do I like the game, or are you asking me, do I own it? Because yes and yes. You'll see it in the collection here pretty soon. Um, let's see. Bruce can't. It made me get the sequel. So you got Xenoblade Chronicles, and then you went back and got Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So you didn't play 2 yet, but playing 1 made you get 2. Is that what you're saying? Let's see. Inglorious Bastards. Have you picked up Bioshock, Borderlands, or Outer Worlds for Switch? No, no, and no, and I don't really plan on it. Bioshock, Borderlands, I don't plan on it because I like physical copies, and I'm not about downloading games that I've already played. It doesn't really move me in any way to do that. So if they were on cartridge, I might have gotten them. I might have picked them up. And as far as Outer Worlds goes, it came out to not be that great of a port, and I was one of the people that was waiting on the Switch port of it. So I'll have standalone videos about that stuff throughout the weekend. So be looking forward to that. If you want like full on impression why, as far as whatnot, why I'm not buying them and stuff like that. But yeah, for my quick answer, these are the reasons why. The great games I already own: Bioshock on 360, 1, Bioshock 2, and Bioshock Infinite. And Borderlands I own on 360, and I own Handsome Jack on PS4. So portability is not a reason for me to get that game, because that's not something I care about as far as those games go. So, but yeah, those seem to be good ports though. They're just not physical. So, all right. I prefer Star Fox Adventure to Star Fox Assault. We'll get into that, Adam. We'll get into that for sure. Do you have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Nightmare? No, but you're going to see everything I have here, pretty much, so hang on. All right, so before we get started with the software, let's talk about some of the hardware. I personally own 4 GameCubes. See if I can tell. This is my original day 1 GameCube. I always loved the GameCube's design. It's to me, it was one of the last game consoles that looked like a game console. A lot of people have made jokes. I've even made jokes about it being the purple lunchbox or whatever. But I think this was built in mind of workstations at the time. I forget who made those workstations, but they also had handles so you can carry them around the work building with you, and do your work that way. I think that was the kind of the idea of the design, but them making it purple and having a handle on it, and there was already the kiddie factor when it came to Nintendo that a lot of people latched onto. Excuse me. It was inevitable that people would call it the purple lunchbox, but it doesn't really look like a lunchbox. So I have that one. Then I have this other purple one that I think I picked up in a lot or something like that. This one is really jacked up. If you look at the scratches, it's all jacked up. But I just got it because it was really cheap. It was probably like $5 or something. Maybe it was a garage sale or something. And I saw it and I was like, oh, let me rescue that. But I don't remember. I can't remember. I really can't remember because I thought that I got the platinum one first, but I don't know if that was launch. Anyway, here's my platinum one. This is my favorite one. As you can see, this is the one I actively play because you can see that there is the Game Boy player attached to it. My 2 memory cards are in here. These are the 256 memory cards. These are the best ones to get because they're standard gray memory cards. Don't have much space on them at all. These hold a pretty good amount of games. And this is my receiver for my Wavebird. Showed you guys, I put the sticker on here so Samus's visor would light up. I showed you that in a video a long time ago. Maybe I'll link it at the end of this when it's over. But this is my favorite look for the GameCube, the Platinum design. And I also have, here's the disc for a Game Boy player. Let me see if I can, there we go. You need this disc to play Game Boy games with the Game Boy player, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy. There is a workaround. I think there's either some kind of modification you can do. But if you have the player, you gotta have this disc. And the players are not that expensive today, but the disc is. And I think they do that on purpose because they know you need this thing. So, yeah. Oh, and I might as well, since I have this, this is actually the casings for the Japanese games. This is how the GameCube games came in a case, and it was just these little cases, which I thought were pretty cool. Maybe a precursor to the Switch. So there's the mini disc in there, or the mini DVD. So that's cool. Prefer Star Fox Adventures. Do you know I read that already? I had Xenoblade on Wii and 3DS, but Zelda stopped me from getting to. Okay, I got you now. Kitty or personality? Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's personality Inglorious, but people called it Kitty. Did you know that the Wii can play GameCube games? Yeah. I think everybody knows that. Keeper. Yes, I need one of those Samus stickers. Yeah, the Samus sticker, I'm pretty sure I got in a copy, one of my Nintendo Powers. You know, so sometimes they come with stickers, they come with posters and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure it's in one. I don't know which one it is. Sorry. But I'm pretty sure that's where I got it. You could probably find similar stickers somewhere else. But, yeah. And, what was I saying earlier? Oh, yeah, the controller. This is one of the biggest, you know, loves of the GameCube. The GameCube controller. Super comfortable controller. You know, only thing that's not comfortable is that D-pad. It works well enough, you know, it works fine. But that's the weakest part of it. And maybe the, you know, that sticky Z button. I don't know why they didn't just put, you know, one on both sides. But, you know, I guess they were kind of stuck on, what do we do with the Z button? The Z trigger was a huge thing on GameCube. Let's just stick it up here. And it's just sticky. It's not very good. But everything else, how this thing feels in your hands is bliss. Great analog stick, great action, the big green action button was a great design idea from Miyamoto. The bean orbital buttons work really well because you can just slide. You don't have to move your hand. You can just kind of slide it forward that way or go like that. You can hit every button. It's just great. And the nub, or the C button, or the C stick nipple, as they call it, the C nipple, is there, and it works very well as well. Great controller. And as I said earlier, here's the Wavebird, the first really good wireless controller. Before that, everything was what do you call, infrared, which those aren't really good. But this was radio frequency. Like I said, you have radio channels here on the bottom. Let's see if you can see that. So you can just switch that little notch if you're having interference. Switch to a different channel. Works perfectly. This was a great thing. The only thing I wish it had was rumble. They took it out because it runs on AA batteries, and so the batteries would last longer without the rumble capabilities. But I wish there was a version that had rumble, because that's the only thing that keeps me from using this all the time, is that it doesn't have force feedback. But a great controller nonetheless. And let me move some of this stuff out of the way. I'm gonna have no room very soon. Go over there, and I want to show one more controller. One of the weirdest controllers ever for any console, and that is the DK Bongos. The DK Bongos. This works for a few games. Donkey Konga, which is a rhythm-based music game, and my goodness, Donkey Kong. What is it? Jungle Beat, which is a very unique but very fun game. I'm trying to untangle this thing. There you go, because I want you to see all the little buttons and stuff. It's a little dusty there. But at the top there, you can see that is a mic. So it would register your claps. And that's part of the gameplay movement in the game. And there is your start pause button right there. And these are also buttons. So if you're playing Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, you would move right because you're moving left and right. It is a 2D scrolling game. And you move left with this. And you jump, I think, hitting both of them. And you clap your hands to attack. Great stuff. This is tons of fun. You look like a complete moron playing this, but you get a workout. This is probably the beginning of Wii Sports right here, because this will give you a workout to play the game and make you look crazy. But yeah, that's it for the hardware. I wanted to show you my microphones for there's a few games that use them. I had Odama, or I can't find it anywhere. I think the game must be with those microphones. Odama, which is a kind of pinball strategy game, which is pretty cool. Do you have Dance Pad that came with Mario Dance Revolution? I don't have Mario Dance Revolution, so no, I don't have the pad for that. But you're about to see what I do have. So let's get into these 100+ games and have some fun. But let's see if you guys said anything else here. Keeper says, haha, remember those bongos? I wish you had perfectly level background music, because I know you have a few dope hip-hop instrumentals. Yeah, I can't do anything right now because I'm on my iPad. So if I wanted to do that, I couldn't. I absolutely love the GameCube. It was my first console. It was my first console to call my own. Mackenzie Peters says, it has such a special place in my heart. And I know a lot of people feel like that. And do you have the... Oh, I read that already. All right, so let's get started here. And I try to put them in some kind of order. But, you know, whatever. We'll see how it goes. First up, we have Tetris Worlds. And yes, this is... I don't know if this is... No, it's not. Okay. So this is backwards to me because I see my screen, so I wanted to make sure this wasn't backwards to you. So there you have Tetris Worlds. I want to say that some of these games or cases are duplicates, or not duplicates, but are, what's the word I'm looking for? What are they called? Reproductions. Because I told you guys the story in my other videos, my other collection videos, that I've lost some cases over the years. Some through flooding. There was flooding in my car, and I had a bunch of my stuff stored there, and so that got ruined. So some of these are repros. I'm not sure if this one is. I think this one is, but you can't really tell, can you? It looks really good. And some of them are. Most of them are authentic cases. So let's. Yeah, you guys. I mean, I don't need to explain what Tetris World is. Pretty good Tetris game. Little twist. Moving on to. I actually have both of these, but I only have the case for this one. Legends of Wrestling. Okay. I bought this because the legends were in it. It's an okay wrestling game. And it's kind of a cartoony, kind of graphical style. But pretty fun. From Acclaim. This was Acclaim's, basically their last hurrah. Was on the GameCube. Hopefully I don't have a landslide here by the time I'm done here. Rules Foo says Eric Sledge. I think that's it. All right, so NBA Courtside. This is the final courtside game of the three that was made by Left Field, Nintendo's former second party studio, or I guess their first party. But they made their sports games. So they made like these games. They made the Ken Griffey baseball games, and they made the courtside games, and they made what's it called? Excite Bike. They made Excite Bike 64, which was a fantastic game on the N64, and Yeah, R.I.P. Kobe Bryant. I was a huge fan. Like I said, I have all the games starring him, and yeah, Courtside 2002. This is the last one Left Field made. After that, Nintendo just kind of deferred to EA and the live games and 2K. Actually, I don't think 2K basketball was on GameCube. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I never got it there. And here is Madden 02. Okay, so you're seeing a pattern here. These are basically most of my sports games. I'm gonna get those out of the way. Madden 02. Before the Madden series hit GameCube, that era, I was into Quarterback Club. I was a bigger fan of Quarterback Club, and I loved Quarterback Club games. But Madden 02 was the one. This is the launch title. This is the one that got me back into Madden. So there's a little history there. If you don't already own, then you should. WrestleMania, what's that, 18? Or, I'm so bad with Roman numerals. And 19. Day of Reckoning and Day of Reckoning 2. Highly recommend them. Also, Showdown, Legends of Wrestling for Xbox. Underrated. Okay. Here we go. I was a big Madden guy in the GameCube era. And there's Madden 03. And, you know, their roster updates. They changed some things, you know. Improve the UI, slightly improve visuals and animations and stuff like that. But it's Madden. And before Madden, and a little bit after Quarterback Club, I got into the NFL 2K series on Dreamcast, which I really liked. And I got back to 2K on NFL 2K3. I think it was the price. I think it was really cheap, so I thought I'd give it another shot. And so it wasn't as good as I remember the Dreamcast ones, but I still liked it a lot. So there you go. Just ordered Need for Speed Most Wanted and Burnout 2 for my GameCube. Can't wait to play them. Those are great racing games, and I own them both. I think I might own Need for Speed on Xbox and not Cube. But Tiger Woods made a stupid statement, I think, today. But anyway, we're not getting into that. I didn't care for golf until I played Mario Golf 64, and I started to understand the game better, and that's when I started playing EA's Tiger Woods games. So you'll see a few of these games throughout my life, throughout my gaming life, and I liked them a lot. They were pretty good. A lot of the Tiger Woods games, at least the ones I had, were good. And then we're gonna skip up to Madden 06 because I did get a Madden or two on Xbox original, so I was buying Madden like almost every year during this era. This is the one time because the EA was a quality company back then, and I really like Madden football games. So there you go. All right, and then All-Star Baseball. I forgot to mention this as a series I also liked on the N64, and I didn't like this one as much. Acclaim, again, they were really known for really nice visuals in their games, really pushing that audio and all that kind of stuff, and I liked it enough, but it wasn't, again, what I was expecting after N64. I really like the All-Star Baseball games on N64. All right, and here we have, this is definitely a repro. Fight Night Round 2, because in US, the cover guy is not Ricky Hatton. It is, what's his name? The Executioner. What is his name? I can't think of his name. But anyway, yeah, Ricky Hatton. This is the PAL version. But what I did is I did it in Photoshop. I took the T and put it on this game because I couldn't find a good enough resolution version because it would look really crappy if you don't have the right resolution to print. So Bernard Hopkins, thank you. Good money now. Bernard Hopkins is on the North American one, but I got this one because this is the best one I could find as far as the resolution on the internet to give me a good print. So this is a really nice looking print. So that's why I used the PAL version instead of the Bernard Hopkins one. But I have the North American one, and as you can see there, Punch Out is included with this game. Super Punch Out, Super Nintendo one, which is very cool. You can just access it right from the beginning, which is dope. So, yeah. All right. And here we're moving away from sports. Here we have Midway Arcade Treasures. This was very early in my gaming life. Was playing, these old Atari games, Coleco games, arcade games, and so I thought, hey, let's take a trip down memory lane and get this. And there's a bunch of games on here. There's Spy Hunter, Defender, Defender 2, Bubbles, Joust, Joust 2, Sinistar, Splat, Clax, Root Beer Tapper, Road Blasters, Robotron 2084, Vindicator, Satan's Hollow, Smash TV, Marble Madness, Paperboy Gauntlet, Rampart, Super Sprint, Rampage, Blaster, Tubin 720. All in here. So very good collection. And I think this was probably a budget title. It's probably like $30 or something, $35 or something. Let's see. Did you play, says Mackenzie, did you ever play NFL or NBA Street games on the GameCube back then? Yes, I did. I don't know if I do have one in my collection, but I don't have it in case anymore. I love those games. NBA, NFL Street, those were great games. Again, EA was at their tops during that era, as far as I'm concerned, and those were great games. I want a new Punch-Out game, except this time let us play the members of the roster in circuits mode and add story mode, says Eric. I had the 3 Midway Treasure collections on Xbox, says Adam. Cool. All right. And here we have Robots, based on the animated film, published by Sierra. This is actually a pretty good game. Once in a while, not all the time, not very often, but once in a while, a licensed game would come out, based on an animated movie or something like that. That's actually pretty fun to play, and this is one of them. This was Robin Williams' vehicle, I believe. Yes, R.I.P. Sierra, says Mackenzie. A lot of R.I.P.ing going on post GameCube, PS2 era. Unfortunately, this was the era we lost a lot of companies, sadly. So, Die Hard Vendetta. This game is utter trash, and that's why I bought it, because, again, Sierra published. But yeah, this game is terrible. It's bad. But I bought it because I saw somebody review it, and I don't remember who it was, but it made me laugh so hard. It's kind of like Bad Boys game that was also really terrible. And so I just had to buy this thing and see if it's really that bad. And yes, it's pretty bad. Die Hard Vendetta, it's so bad, it's good. Yes, Mackenzie, that's exactly right. So bad, it's good. I think that's it. All right. Sonic Heroes. Really good Sonic game, often overlooked. A lot of people don't talk about, when they talk about 3D Sonic games that are good, not a lot of people talk about Sonic Heroes, but this is actually a pretty good Sonic 3D game. Not too far behind at least as far as I'm concerned, the Sonic Adventure games. This is pretty close to the quality of that, and you get to play as multiple characters at once. It's kind of like a party, and good game. Not a lot of people talk about it. And more Sonic. I try to put this stuff together, like I said. Sonic Gems Collection. I mostly bought this because I think at the time I didn't have Sonic R for Saturn, and this was a good way to play Sonic R for Saturn. This is one of the few Saturn games or collections that have a Saturn game in it. So I bought it for that. It also has Sonic CD, which is a lot of people's favorite Sonic. A lot of people love that one. And cult classic arcade 3D fighting game, Sonic the Fighter. So this is a pretty good collection of not too often remembered games, or not too often, not big Sonic games. So Sonic Gems Collection is pretty good. 3 must-have hits. 6 hours, plus 6 bonus games. 6 bonus games. I don't remember. Oh, okay, yeah. What am I saying? The gear, it's a Game Gear. How could I forget? Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Spinball. I have so many Sonic collections, I forget that. So that's what you have. I actually have a Sonic collection on Saturn. So that's why I forget what has what. Same thing with Mega Man happens to me. Bionicle. I don't remember what when I bought this game. Bionicles. I must have bought this in a lot or something. This looks like a repro case. Yeah, it is. But the manual's in there. I got the manual, and yeah, a lot of these games, I have the manual with them. So, pretty much all my games, I keep my manuals in the case so I don't lose them. Sonic Fighters is my favorite on Sonic Gems. Who says that? Mackenzie? Cool. Here it is. The game that I was talking about earlier that, uses the DK bongos, and it's Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. This is one of the most inventive games I think Nintendo's ever made. Not a lot of people talk about this game. Again, it's one of those games not a lot of people talk about. It's a short game. I think it's about 5 hours long. But you'll be done with it by the time you get there, because you're gonna be, like I said, it's like, it's very intensive as far as the controls and stuff. So you're gonna be tired out by the time you get to the end of the game. Very independent game. Really nice visuals, really nice graphics on the game, and inventive controller. So, yeah, I think, yeah, all right. And this is the other game I mentioned that uses the bongos, and that's Donkey Konga. There's actually 2 Donkey Konga games. I only have this one here. I guess it sold well enough to get a sequel, so I'm pretty sure there's a Donkey Konga 2. But this is a cool game. I just wanted something else to be able to use my DK bongos for, and this is obviously perfectly made for that. So, because there's not a lot that you can use the bongos for. This is one of my favorite games on the GameCube. This is it's a multi-plat, but obviously I have it on GameCube. Spartan Total Warrior. This is kind of like a real-time strategy kind of game, because you're controlling multiple troops and whatnot in battlefields in the Spartan era, and really nice visuals, really good story, great controls. This is a really good game. Again, it's one of those games that a lot of people don't talk about. I don't know, did the series continue post this era? I don't remember, because I certainly fell off of it, but Sega published, really good game. All right. Reckless, the Yakuza missions, really cool. Driving-based action game. I think you play like a cop in this, right? Sweep the Yakuza mob from the street. So you're basically battling the Yakuza, and it's like a driver kind of game, but action. You have like guns and whatnot. Pretty good game. I like the visuals. This is another multi-plat. I think it's on every system, Xbox and PS2. But fun. Oh, Vex. Here we go with the Vex. Another Acclaim game. This GameCube era was the era of 2D or 3D platformers for sure. And this was one of those platforming games that tried to have, the mascot character. This was mildly successful, because I'm pretty sure there's a Vex 2. Really good, cool mechanic. You have these claws and whatnot. You have multiple types of claws that you get to use to unlock certain things and to be able to fight certain ways. And but I think the end of this game, it starts to get really tedious. So I'm surprised it did as well as it did to warrant a sequel. But I mean, it's a fine platformer until you get to those last levels, and it gets really tedious at some point, and that's what I remember. But it's inventive for the most part, and it's kind of memorable, a memorable character and memorable abilities. And here's another. I have quite a few of these. This is from THQ. I'm pretty sure they're gonna at some point remaster this as well. Tak and the Power of Juju. I always like the name. I just really like the name. It just flows. Tak and the Power of Juju. Again, there's your character Tak. He's in 3D world. I mean, you know, it's probably as generic as it gets, but it's still fun. Like, it's still fun to play. I don't know if they made a sequel to this because I always mix this up with Tie, which you'll also see. But you know, pretty fun game. And I always, you know, I was a huge 3D platformer game. I'm still am, and I would play and I would find these and play as many as I could. So, all right, and here we go with Ty, the Tasmanian Tiger. What is it called? Bush Rescue. Yeah, Bush Rescue. This game just got, well, the first one, Ty 1, just got remastered. It's on Switch, I believe, which is so weird because I never played Ty 1. And so now I get to play Ty 1 on the Switch. And I can buy it without having to feel like, oh man, I just rebought this game I already have. So they're probably going to remaster Ty 2 as well. Who knows? But I like this one. From what I've seen from reviews and stuff, this is the best one out of, I think there's 3 of them. People seem to like this one the best. So the third one I don't believe came out on consoles. I feel like it only came out on PC, which was weird. I could be wrong about that. I don't know. But, you know, EA published because everybody was trying to get in on that 3D platformer thing, man. So let's see here. Mackenzie says, when Activision was making fun games. Rufus, did you ever play True Crime? You'll see, Rufus. You'll see if it's in my collection. Adam, I was tempted to get Reckless, but the magazine reviews back then were terrible. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fun game. It's not like a great game, but it was fun enough through my playthrough of it. So this was the era when every platformer tried to be the next Jack and Daxter or Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, pretty much. Says Mackenzie. Tie 3 is on GameCube. Okay, so Tie 3 is on GameCube. See, I was wrong. But the only one I ever played was 2. The one I have. So, oh boy, here's a game that's coming out pretty soon, right? On Switch. SpongeBob SquarePants. I never owned this during the GameCube era. I had a fan of my channel. I think it was Gilligan Stash, who would always tell me, get this game, play this game, buy this game, you got to play it. It's a great game. It's one of those licensed games that is actually really good. It's a really good 3D platformer that just happens to have, you know, the SpongeBob license, and it's really good. And I would often hear that from a lot of people. A lot of people really love this game. So I finally decided, all right, I'm going to go out and buy this game and check it out. This was in January of this year. I was like, all right. So it wasn't expensive, but it wasn't super cheap either. It was like $35 for a GameCube game today. So I bought it and I started to play it, and I was having fun with it. And then, you know, you're playing a bunch of different games, and I kind of put it on the back burner so I didn't get too far in it. And then they mentioned that they were coming out with a remastered version of the game, which it looks really good. It looks glorious visually. And so instead of going through this one, I'm just going to keep this in the collection and play the new version on Switch. So I haven't played it yet. And I'm actually, if you don't know, I am a fan of SpongeBob. And I actually have the SpongeBob SquarePants movie game. This one I did own because it was more in my mind because of the movie. So, you know, it's okay. This is one of those licensed games that comes out for a movie, like I said, animated movie, that's okay. And this one's okay. So, all right. Somebody asked me earlier, did I know that you could play GameCube games on Wii? I don't know who doesn't know that, but not to mess with you. But this is actually a GameCube game that won't run on Wii. It will start, like you get to the tutorial part. I've talked about this a ton of times, Teen Titans. This is a really good game, by the way. I really love this game. But this will not work. This is one of the few in that tiny margin of games that will not run on Wii. You get to the tutorial part, so you think it's working, and then after that, it just won't read the disc anymore. It reminds me of Dreamcast, where if you hooked it up through, if you try to hook it up through HDMI, or you try to hook your Dreamcast up with what's the I can't think of that, VGA cables. It won't play. Some games will not run with that output, and that's similar to what this game is. But really good a game, a really good action beat 'em up brawler game with my favorite DC characters. So there you go. Speaking of my favorite DC characters, Batman Vengeance. This is actually a really good Batman game before the Arkham games. This is based on the animated series, kind of the art style and whatnot. Really good visually. This is more of a beat 'em up kind of puzzler. Not really puzzles, not really heavy puzzles or anything. This is kind of a 3D. I don't want to say platformer, but it's a 3D action game. So there you go. Batman Vengeance. I really like this game. This is a repro case. As you can see, it says PAL at the bottom. And I picked this because I picked this, artwork because this is the best artwork for me to print. All the other ones were too small and they would have stretched and they would have looked ugly. So I had to use the PAL version. And this is Robotech Battlecry. You guys know me. I love my mech games. This is a really good mech game on GameCube. Again, not a lot of people talk about it because this is Robotech is it is a animated series, right? And it's a licensed game, so a lot of people just probably dismissed it. But this is really good, and the graphics are really nice, really colorful and nice in this game. So I recommend that for sure. Was it? I can't remember. Batman Vengeance was a launch title, Mackenzie? No, I didn't remember that. Only games I got for launch were when I picked up my GameCube, I got Madden 02. I got excuse me. I got Rogue Squadron 2 and Luigi's Mansion. And a little bit later, maybe a week later, I got Super Monkey Ball, which I don't have anymore. I'll talk about that later. But and then Pikmin came out a little later, as well as Smash. So, but yeah, GameCube actually had a really good launch lineup. And here we have Spy Hunter, the remake, because Spy Hunter was an old arcade game from the 80s. And the remake was really good. This is a really cool game. I think there's a sequel during this era. I'm not sure. But the car is so dope. Its abilities and whatnot. Not super easy, but it's not like a super hard game or anything. But really good. I think, wasn't Dwayne Johnson in a movie based on this? Or he was supposed to be in a Spy Hunter movie that fell through. I got my GameCube for Christmas. 2001. The first 3 games I got were Star Wars, Luigi's Mansion, NHL Hits, 2002. Nice, Mackenzie, nice. But yeah, really fun spy, driving game. You guys know what Spy Hunter is. X-Men Legends 2. This is another one of those. It's very much like the Marvel game on, what is it called? I just played it. The Marvel game on Switch, where you have your 4 characters all together. This is the first game to do that. It's probably the same studio. I'm not sure, but it's Activision. And yeah, this was like the brawler where you level up and whatnot. And X-Men was huge at the time when this came out. The X-Men movies were huge. And so these games did pretty well. I think there's 2 of them in this era. There might be 3 in total, but I'm not sure. But X-Men Legends, good games. I'm barely through my first stack. I have 3. All right. Spider-Man. Again, another movie-based game. This is based on the Sam Raimi first Spider-Man movie. This is really good. But the other one, the next one is better. But, this was a good first step in Spider-Man games. And most Spider-Man games were pretty good. There weren't really a ton of bad Spider-Man games. Spider-Man was always treated pretty well and represented pretty well in video games, and definitely in Spidey 2. This is the Spider-Man game before the new one. I haven't played it yet, but that one has a lot of accolades. But Spider-Man 2 was that game where you had the big open world of New York, and you can swing everywhere and all that cool stuff. This was the game that really did that. Really opened it up. And this is my favorite Spider-Man movie as well, Spider-Man 2. So yeah, and I believe all the actors did their voices. I think Tobey Maguire. Yeah, they all actually did their voices back in these days. So that was also very cool. Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Thank you, Mackenzie. Yes. Again, you guys know me when these lights come on. My brain fries and I can't remember anything. I could have just done this and lifted my Switch up and looked and saw that. But yeah, Ultimate Alliance. It's very similar to that. I want Spy Hunter game again so bad. Yeah, Spy Hunter was dope. I really like that game. If you enjoy Spider-Man 2, check out Ultimate Spider-Man. Yeah, I know Ultimate Spider-Man. I have it on original Xbox. So I know that game. That one's pretty good as well. It has the cell shaded look, like you're saying there, Mackenzie. So, yep, pretty good. All right, continuing in licensed games, Terminator 3 Redemption. Again, based on loosely, it's definitely based on the world and characters of Terminator 3, the movie, which I liked. A lot of the people, hate on that movie. It has, some whatever moments, but I thought it was a pretty good movie. And the first game kind of sucked. Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines game sucked. And Terminator 3 Redemption is supposed to be a we're sorry version of that game. They made it better. And I don't know if this is exactly the same as that Terminator 3 Redemption or Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines game. But this is kind of like a DLC refix, certain problems with that game kind of game from Atari. And Atari did a lot of licensed games, especially in this era, and you'll see eventually here. Terminator 3 Redemption. We're sorry, but we're not sorry. Says Mackenzie, nice. And now let's get into a series that I really would like to come back. And a lot of fans want it to come back, and Ubisoft be teasing it and playing games. But for some reason, won't bring it back, and that is Splinter Cell. I love the Splinter Cell series. A lot of people love, my gosh, what's the name of the game? Metal Gear. But I way prefer Splinter Cell. Story is not as convoluted. I really like Sam Fisher's character. I'm a Michael Ironside fan, and I love these games. I believe this Splinter Cell was initially a exclusive, a timed exclusive to the Xbox, OG Xbox, and this is before I had an OG Xbox, so I waited to get it. But I also have the Xbox OG version as well, which is slightly better visually, but this game looks so good even now. And I like all the mechanics, and I love stealth games like this. I didn't care for Metal Gear, like I said, but I really liked, really love Splinter Cell series. So you have Splinter Cell stealth action, and then you have Chaos Theory, I think is the second one, which I have, again, like I said, I have it on original Xbox, and this is Pandora Tomorrow, which I believe is the third one. I hope I'm not getting that backwards. I thought Chaos Theory was second and Pandora Tomorrow was third. But these games were really huge during this era. I remember G4 really used to talk about these games, and at least the Xbox version, because they had Xbox Live, and it was like really cool multiplayer on the Xbox. But I love this series. And here we have Double Agent, which I didn't love as much. This is actually, I think this came out in 2006 on GameCube. And there's also a 360 version, which, 360, I don't know if PS3 has it or not, but I think this is the fourth one. And it looks, I wasn't a huge fan of the Double Agent kind of setup, but it's a good game still. And this is a repro case because, like I said, I got some cases that got ruined. And let's get into some EA action. I think Mackenzie says, I think it's Chaos Theory that got me into the series. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Good game. And here we have, let's start with this one first, to be chronological here. Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. I could be wrong about this as well, but I think this is where it starts on GameCube as far as Lord of the Rings games chronologically. I think the first Lord of the Rings game I do have on PlayStation 2, and it's pretty different from this. I'm not even sure if it's EA. It might be EA published, but I'm not sure EA was the company. But these are action, beat 'em ups, kind of brawlers with RPG elements. But very cinematic, very true to the movies. My only complaint is I remember these games being really dark on your screen. Maybe I needed to change my settings. I don't know, but very cool, and it had clips from the movies. I don't think the actors use their voices in these games or not, but the real actors. Let's see if it has it on the back or not. Yeah, it has scenes from the film Two Towers, soundtrack from Fellowship of the Ring, exclusive interviews. Yeah, this game had like behind the scenes stuff, which is very cool. This is when game companies put a lot of quality into their games, a lot of time, into their games. So, and here we have Return of the King, which is a great film. We got Peter Jackson as Oscar, and this game is also it's very similar. You're kind of going along linear paths and whatnot. From stuff you do in the game, stuff you do in the movie, and I really like that. I really like that in this era. And there's some side stuff as well that you don't see in the movies, but very epic. These games are so epic, so well produced, so well designed and developed. Really good games from EA. All right, and now we have Lord of the Rings: The Third Age, and this was, I believe, the last Lord of the Rings game that came out on GameCube. This is pretty different. This is more of an RPG than the other ones. It's for the longest, because when I was thinking about this game, I didn't think it was an EA game. I thought EA didn't have a license for this one, but it says EA on it, obviously. Yeah. So battle along the Fellowship and adventure spanning all the three films. So this covers all the movies basically, and it's an RPG, right? The most exciting RPG since Final Fantasy, it touts. So really good. I like all the Lord of the Rings games. I thought they were really dope, and EA was at the top of their game. Love the GameCube, says Video Game Lover. What's up, Video Game Lover? It's not Lord of the Rings, but I have prequel on GameCube. It's the Hobbit game by Sierra. Yeah, I have the Hobbit as well. I have it on GameCube. It's another game I don't have a case for, I don't think. I might anymore. But I believe I also have it on original Xbox. We'll see. And here is the Big Boy. It's another EA game. Here is the Big Boy Animal Crossing game. This is for big boys, that kiddie stuff. The Sims. I really like The Sims back in the day. Don't really play it much anymore. This is a game series that needs to come to Switch. Probably will at some point because EA is dropping a lot of stuff apparently on Switch this year. But really like The Sims games. These are also games that were really big in its time. Very inventive, very clever. Well designed life Sims. So there's the original one, and then we have Sims Busting Out. And so these games are kind of expansion packs. The different versions of the different iterations of Sims games, like Busting Out. This would, today it would just be an expansion pack, which is cool. Back then we didn't have the capabilities really to do that. So, these are really cool games. I always liked them. I thought the humor in them was great, and they're really fun. I'll be honest, I don't like the Sims games on consoles. I can only play it on mouse and keyboard. Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, they're basically PC games to begin with, but you know they work fine for me on console. They may not for everybody, so that's cool. Virtua Quest. I really just bought this game because I thought it was kind of rare and just it had this kind of throwback quality to it. Had this kind of Dreamcast kind of flair to it. Look at the box art. It's okay. I just thought it was. I bought it mainly because there's like Virtual Fighter characters in it and stuff. Obviously, Virtua Quest. Sega loved Virtua, putting Virtua in the name of stuff. Virtua Cop, Virtua Fighter, Virtua Quest. So, Virtua Tennis. I think this is kind of rare today. I'm not sure, but I think this might be rare. And I have a few of those, which I didn't buy them thinking they would be rare. I bought them because I thought they would be good games. So, Mackenzie says I bought Virtual Quest a couple of years ago. I was very disappointed. So Mackenzie also doesn't think it's a great game. I was trying to be nice, but it's okay. I remember the controls like sucking pretty bad. Okay concept, but oh boy, here was that game. Soul Calibur 2. I have Soul Calibur as well on Dreamcast. Love that game. It was one of the my favorite launch titles. And then they came up with the idea that we're gonna put a special character for each version of Soul Calibur. Xbox got Master Chief. PlayStation got Hayachi, which I don't understand. And we got the best character, of course, because this was the best-selling version at the time. Soul Calibur 2 was the best-selling version of Soul Calibur probably because of Link, because GameCube was the least-selling console, it's a testament to how how popular. Because we hadn't seen Link in anything else outside of it in a Zelda game. I mean, we had him in Smash Brothers, but that wasn't the same. There was something because he was like a realistic, adult Link in this, and we hadn't seen that, and this was very interesting to see, and it was just a cool thing, everybody, every Nintendo fan, every Link fan, every Zelda fan, really loved the idea of being able to play as Link. As a fighting character, he was kind of OP in this game, if you ask me. But it was just a really cool way to see him, and love this game. Classic, the version especially. I saw something. Soul Calibur 2 needs a port on Switch for sure. With Link, I think Xbox got Spawn. What did I say? Master Chief? Yeah, wrong. Spawn, which was strange. Even stranger than Hayachi. But Virtual, I read that already. Hey folks, says Rakia, what's up? I saw a question, I don't see it now. Oh yeah, why was Soul Calibur 3 never on GameCube? Soul Calibur 2 outsold both the Xbox and PS2 versions. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know why. I just don't get it. Obviously, like you said, Soul Calibur 2 sold the best out of all the versions, and they didn't put 3 on GameCube for some reason. I don't know. It's a good question. Gotta skip out on Player Essence to chill with you, says Bruce. I appreciate that. Player Essence probably doesn't. Let's see. I played the GameCube version of Soul Calibur like crazy. Yeah, so did I. I mean, it's such a playable, beautiful game still, so playable today. And Link, man, a serious, adult Link, So, Smuggler Run War Zones. This was a pretty cool game. I like the idea of being a bad guy smuggling stuff through the desert and whatnot. Really good controls and really nice graphics. This game, I think. Yeah, this is not exclusive. It was definitely on PS2. Don't know if it was on Xbox. Probably not. But Rockstar, these are games that Rockstar needs to come back to instead of just making their open world stuff. They need to make games like this again. So, really good game. All right. A Rockstar game on a Nintendo home console? Yeah, I think there was a couple more actually. Mackenzie. Oh boy. Extreme G. 3, actually, right? Yeah, it says 3 on there. I have Extreme G 1 and 2 for N64. Love those games. They're like, they're basically like Wipeout meets F-Zero. Not quite as fast as F-Zero. Not quite as visually standoutish as Wipeout, but a good mesh of those two. I like the fact that he have these Tron cycles and stuff because I was a fan of Tron, still am, and pretty cool game. Again, this is one of those games that I didn't like as much as I liked it on N64, but still a good game. I think there's 2 of them. I don't have the other one, but I do have Extreme G3. Mackenzie says Extreme G3 is an excellent game. It's a great budget game for those who can't afford F-Zero GX. Is it expensive? Is F-Zero GX expensive? Here we go. Evo 2, 4x4. I really like off-road games, and this is a pretty good one. Controls are nice, good graphics. You know, it's a racing game that's off-road. I didn't really like the kind of checkpoint thing because it's almost like what do you call it? Wave race where you have to go through like buoys. You kind of have to do that with this. If you miss a buoy or if you miss the checkpoint that you have to drive through, it's like 2 red cones or something. It would just if you missed it, it would just basically restart you before it, and so. I remember this game being really hard. If you got really far behind, it was almost impossible to catch back up. But I thought it was mostly fair. So, yeah. ATV 2 off-road. I was gonna say Fury quad power racing. Another one of those off-road games, racing games. The Extreme games, the X Games stuff was pretty big in this era. And these games are a lot of fun. You get a lot of air and all that stuff. And yeah, it's pretty big genre in those days. Oh boy. Another forgotten gem. Freedom Fighters. And look who made it. Well, they didn't make it, but they published it. IO Interactive, I believe, is the software developer on this game. They're still around today, actually, and they were talking about making a sequel to this. Freedom Fighters is super underrated. I think it's sold well. Often forgotten. This is a really good third-person shooting game, third-person shooter, action game. It starts off, you're like, it's funny because it starts off with 2 plumbers. Lawsuit, no. There's 2 plumbers in New York. And they go to this house to do a job, and they're mistaken for like freedom fighters. Because what happens is it's like, what's that game movie from the 80s? Patrick Swayze, Red Dawn. It's like Red Dawn basically, where the Russians take over New York and they occupy it, and they occupy the citizens. And this plumber, this is the guy you play as. I can't remember his name, but his brother's kidnapped, and you have to save him again. But you also have to like free certain freedom fighters who were trying to warn everybody what was going to happen. And nobody listened, obviously, and so it got taken over. So this is like this reminds me of like The Division in some ways. It's not quite like that, but it has that kind of feel to it. Or it's like an alternate universe of what's actually real, the real world we live in, where something happened and changed everything. But this is a really good game. The controls take some time to get used to. I remember the aiming is a little kind of suspect at times, but I love this game. This is a really good game all the way through, and I hope they bring this back, make a sequel to this. Like they were hinting at it like a year ago or a couple of years ago. I think they were on Twitter hinting at it, and the IO Interactive is still around, and they have the rights to this game. And EA doesn't. They have the rights to this game, so hopefully they'll make a sequel or remaster it. Remaster it first, fix some of the controls, and then make a sequel if it sells well. And again, like I was talking about Atari doing some licensed stuff, and here is Enter the Matrix. I love the cover to this. This is just like, it's hard to tell, but it's like a 3D cover. And this game was really ambitious when it came out because even though the sequels to Matrix weren't what we wanted them to be, I just think the Wachowskis got a little over ambitious with this because there's stuff in the movie Into the Matrix or Matrix Reloaded that's hinted at that this game explores more. So I like that idea. I thought that was a really cool idea. It's kind of like the Animatrix where there's also stuff in the movie that's explored or talked about, hinted at, and then the Animatrix expands on it, like the kid, you know. If you're a fan of the Matrix, you know what I'm talking about. But you get to see Nairobi, which is Jada Pinkett Smith, her character. You get to see her do more stuff. Ghost, the Asian guy, who was a part of her crew. You basically have an adventure with them. And I thought it was a really well done game. I mean, it had some mechanical issues. There's some technical issues with the game, but I thought it was pretty ambitious and a really cool idea for not just going along and making a game based on the movie and you go through the things that happen in the movie, but expanding on the movie. So I thought that was a really cool idea. I liked this game all the way to the end. I thought it was really fun, very playable, fun game. Like I said, it has some technical problems as far as, you know, sometimes somewhat wonky controls, but really good story if you're into the Matrix lore and stuff. So, all right, let's see what you guys are talking. My dad used to play this game. I think he's talking about Mackenzie. I think you're talking about Freedom Fighters. It stressed him out all the time. When a guy died, when a guy dies, he is dead for the rest of the game. Yeah. So you lose people and they're gone forever, but you keep getting new people. That's the cool thing about the game. You recruit. You're like recruiting new people to your side and to the cause, and your group grows and grows. So yeah, it sucks that you lose people, but that that happens in real fighting. So I always thought that was cool. And Enter the Matrix. Whose idea was it on making GameCube on it to? Whose idea was it on GameCube to make the Z button the primary button? Yeah, that was, again, like I was saying, control issues. That was insane. Why would you use that squishy, stupid Z button as a primary button for anything? There's plenty of buttons on the GameCube controller. I didn't understand that either. But there you have it. But it's still a good game. I think it's a good game. All right. Shonen Jump, Naruto, Clash of Ninja. I wasn't a huge fan. I mean, I would watch Naruto here and there, but I liked the fighting games. I thought they looked really nice. It looked like the cartoon, the show cartoon, and they were really good mechanically. They were probably a little on the easy side, but that's fine. To have a fighting game that's not too, they didn't have this huge learning curve that's hard to get into. So I really like these games. I thought they were nice, fast, and I visually I liked them. So again, I wasn't a big Naruto fan. Definitely not as big as say OJ in Play Resistance, because he's definitely a fan. But I like the games a lot. And speaking of anime games, Dragon Ball Budokai. I'm gonna try to say this quietly because my wife might hear. I wasn't a big fan of Dragon Ball either, but my girlfriend at the time was, and she really loved playing those games and these games, and that's one of the reasons I got it, because I would always be gaming, and it wasn't including her. So this was a way to get her to play. But yeah, so quietly, uh, yeah, I wasn't a huge. I'm still not a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, but I know a lot of people love this series. It goes back, what, to the late '80s. Dragon Ball Z's been around that long, so. But again, visually really nice and really nice, solid fighting. One Piece Grand Battle is pretty fun fighting game on the GameCube. A little bit on the easy side as well, says Mackenzie. Yeah, I think that might be the case for Dragon Ball Z as well. I haven't played it in forever, so I don't really remember. Oh boy, Dark Summit from THQ. I wonder if they'll bring this one back or not. This is a strange one. This was a snowboarding game, but like a kind of murder mystery, if I remember correctly. There's like a story. It's like a story-based game, so you would uncover things as you would race, and there is, a story, and an extreme racing, basically extreme racing game. But it was very interesting. I remember it being very interesting, but not the most solid game. But I like the concept of you're gonna make a story around a extreme sports snowboarding game. Very very interesting. So yeah. And here we go. Need for Speed Underground Deuce. These were the games. This was the era of the Fast and the Furious, and I say the Fast and the Furious because now it's just like only thing they keep now in the titles are Fast. They dropped the Fast and the Furious part. They dropped the Furious. I think they brought Furious back for Furious 7 or something like that for the 7th one. But anyway, this was the era of modding your Japanese sports car. This was like, it was all about, drifting and, cool LED lights and rims and really cool, bowling ball paint jobs on your car and all that. This was the era that these games were huge at the time, because this was that era, and being able to customize your cars and all that, really fun, really nice graphics, great controls. I think it was exclusively night racing, and that was really cool. I think that really kind of started with Tokyo Extreme on Dreamcast, and continued on into these games. These games were phenomenal. And I love them. I love the underground games. Very cool. Great music too. A lot of great licensed music in these games. Need for Speed Underground 2 is better, but I will never have that magic that made me love the first game. Yeah, Underground 2, a lot of times the second one would expand on things that weren't quite there in the first one. So a lot of times the sequels to these games are really good. Well, I do have it. It's coming up next. So I can remember if I had the case or not. But, same for me. I think Burnout 2 is clearly the better game, but I love Burnout 1, and I don't have it anymore. That was the game that made me fall in love with Burnout. Was Burnout 1 on GameCube, and but Burnout 2 is clearly the better game, and that's the game that got everybody in. Then Burnout 3. I still like Burnout 2 more, but Burnout 3 really expanded everything for everybody. So, and here it is. It was asked for earlier, and again, a Volume 2. I think 2 is better. I think 2 is actually the best one. Crash Mode was great, and still great, Rufus. Very fun to play. All right, so Need for Speed. NBA Street Volume 2. I love this one because this is the one that introduced like the legends. As you can see, it has that kind of 70s aesthetic on the front there, but it also has Michael Jordan in it. This is one of the first games I remember Michael Jordan being in it, because I think Michael Jordan wasn't part of the Players Association or something like that, and so he wasn't in a lot of basketball games, at least early on. So to have him in the game, they would put, 23 or something like that in the game, but they couldn't use his name. But this is great. This game is great. I love 2 the most. But the NBA Street Series is great. NFL Street Series is great. Great games. This is EA, man. Again, EA big at the tops. You know, they had great sports games. You know, kind of like what do you call them? Arcade sports games like the Street Series for NFL and NBA, as well as SSX. So, great stuff. And speaking of SSX on tour, I have Tricky, I believe for 360 original Xbox, and I definitely got on tour because I think this is the first one and the only one that has Mario characters in it. And how cool is that? They look kind of weird because the SSX characters are not realistic, but they look more like real humans. And to have Mario characters set in that environment in the world, um, yeah, again, EA big. And look at that, showing some love to my favorite gaming characters. And these SXX games were great. Another series that was really popular at this time, this era. This was a great, to me, this felt like the last great gaming era. Like I wasn't, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, I can't think of it. Anyway, this was a great gaming era, and it was just, I felt like the industry was peaking during this era. So SSX was great. All right. Oh my, one of my favorites. One of my favorites. Battalion Wars. This is a really cool, cartoony, kind of strategy style action game. This was supposed to be an Advanced Wars game. This is, you know, same made by them, but this was like supposed to be more turn based, kind of like Advanced Wars is. But this is real time, so this is more action oriented. And love this game. Love the one on Wii as well. These are never talked about. Nobody talks about Battalion Wars ever, and these are really good games from Nintendo. Like these are really good games. Nobody talks about Battalion Wars. I don't know why. Everybody talks about Advance Wars. Nobody talks about Battalion Wars. These are really good games. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Dave Mira Freestyle BMX. You know, a lot of people were into Tony Hawk, and they were skateboarding and whatnot. I had never grasped skateboarding. My sport was BMXing, bike riding. That was my thing. And Dave Mira, you know, R.I.P. He didn't die too long ago. I feel like it wasn't that long ago. So rest in peace to him. But you know, I love, again, more extreme sports stuff in this era. These were really cool games, and I'm tearing up thinking about Dave Mira. Big fan of his, and all right, calm down. Great series of games. All right, get it together here. All right, Hot Wheels World Race. I don't remember this game actually. I probably got it in a lot later on, so but I don't really remember it. But you know, I'm sure it's. Did I ever even play this? I don't know. You know, I played Hot Wheels racing games on N64, and I'm pretty sure it's very similar to those. So pretty good, THQ. But it looks really graphically colorful and all that good stuff. You know, it's a Hot Wheels racing game. Probably know what to expect there. I don't remember this game that much. Oh, here's a game I remember that nobody remembers. Starsky and Hutch. This game, it's a strange situation with this game. This is a driver, again. Probably going to mention driver a few times because there were a lot of like driver clones because it was such a popular game when it came out. This is a driver clone based on Starsky and Hutch, the TV show from the 70s. Was it 70s or 80s? Maybe it was late 70s, early 80s. But it came out during the time to capitalize on the remake with Ben Stiller. I think it's Ben Stiller and Luke Wilson or Owen Wilson. That was in the movie, the remake movie, and this came out to coincide with that, but it's based on the TV show from. So it's weird. It's like I know you're trying to capitalize on the name, but it's not the same characters. But this is a really good game. Again, another one of those licensed games that actually turned out to be pretty good. And Starsky and Hutch, one of them. Who's the publisher of this? Empire Interactive. Never heard of them. But this is a pretty cool game. Yeah. Licensed game. All right, here we go. Here we go. Let me see if I missed any of you guys' comments here. Mackenzie Peters, R.I.P. Dave Mira. Did he commit? Yes, he did. I don't even want to say the word, but yes, he did. Sadly. The Game Master. Hey T, how are you doing? I am doing very well. I hope you're doing well as well. There's a lot of wells in there. But yeah, I'm doing well. Battalion Wars was made by Kuju Entertainment. They went on to make Art Academy. That I didn't know. Thank you, Rocky, for that bit of information. They went on to make Art Academy. That's dope. Another really good game. Battalion Wars is such a hidden gem. I think Nintendo low printed it. They might have. I don't know. So if they low printed it, that means it's a collectible item and it might be worth some money. I don't know. Not that I care about this stuff because my GameCube collection is going nowhere. Let's see what when EA and Nintendo were friends. Yeah, well, funny thing, they weren't initially during the GameCube era because it seems like only Nintendo EA likes to play around with and whatnot to see what they're gonna do. So it was similar up until like the launch year of GameCube that the EA came around and was like, all right, put out Madden and whatnot. But they were messing around. They definitely fudged around with Nintendo during the N64 era early on. That's why Nintendo had Left Field, making the sports baseball games, making basketball. But, you know, EA is EA. What can I say? Does Crazy Taxi and Simpsons Road Rage count as driver clones? No. Crazy Taxi definitely doesn't because it's way more arcade. It's like it's about you picking people up and dropping them off. Simpsons, no, because you get out of the car, and it wasn't until I think Driver 3 where you got out. Simpsons is actually more. There's a lot more platforming in it. People realize there's more you going through levels and stuff as well. So while there is a lot of driving, there's also platforming through the world and platforming in levels and stuff. So I wouldn't say they were clones of Driver. I think games that are mainly focused on you being in a car and, you know, carrying out missions and stuff, those are more, you know, Driver clones. So so T, have you shown Rogue Squadron 3 yet? No, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. You hang on. All right, let's move on. So more EA goodness. Medal of Honor, Frontline. I was a huge, and I mean huge fan of World War II 3D shooting or first-person shooting games. Huge fan. Because I always loved the stories, the storylines, and whatnot. The guns, the ammo, all that stuff was pretty foreign to me as far as, you know, it being, you know, old weaponry that I wasn't totally used to. And the World War II era was just, you know, it always makes for epic stuff as far as epic movies and whatnot. And I was a huge, huge fan of the Medal of Honor series. And these games were quality, top-notch games. Again, EA doing their thing. And a huge fan of these games. And it was one of the few types of FPSs that I would play in those days. Because I wasn't really into first-person shooters as much, but I liked the more story-driven stuff. So, great title. And here is Rising Sun, Medal of Honor. I'm not sure. I think I like this one better. I'm not sure. But again, graphically beautiful, beautifully produced and developed. Really good quality games from EA in that fateful era when they really put out some quality stuff. So good stuff. Little did EA know they would piss off their devs who made Medal of Honor so much they went to their rival Activision and made Call of Duty. Well, there you go. There you go, Mackenzie. All right. And another excellent first-person shooter. This is the only one I played. I know it's a series. I think I played it on PlayStation, the first one, a little bit. And I never played 3, I don't believe. And that is Time Splitters 2. And it says it right there, from the makers of GoldenEye. And it's the heir apparent. This is Free Radical Design. These are the people that left in Exodus during the production of Perfect Dark on N64. They left to form their own company, Free Radical Design, and they started making these Time Splitter games. And the minute you play them, it feels like GoldenEye. It does feel like the heir apparent to GoldenEye. They look, they use the same kind of health meter and whatnot from GoldenEye. They feel like the sequel to GoldenEye games, and they're really fun. They're really good, great humor. They're kind of cartoony-ish, but I really like these games. Again, I only played 1 and 2. I never played 3. 3 is Future Perfect, right? I think that's what they call it. I never played it, but yeah, really good game, really good series. And oh boy, so we didn't have GoldenEye, on GameCube. We had Time Splitters, which is but we're talking about a return to James Bond, and this was the closest we got, and I really liked this game. Played the crap out of it, almost as much as I played GoldenEye multiplayer. I played this multiplayer as well, and that is Nightfire. Love this game. This feels like it. What's so weird about this era? Because Pierce Brosnan is probably my favorite Bond. He doesn't have the best Bond movies, but he's probably my favorite Bond, as he embodies Bond, the character. But his movies were not the best. They weren't terrible until probably Die Another Day. I thought the title was. I liked the title of it, but some of the. It tried to go back to that Roger Moore kind of more quirky, goofy stuff. So I got that, but it didn't always work for me. But Pierce Brosnan's games were great and would have made way better movies. And Nightfire, it feels like it was based on a movie, but it's not, because it has that kind of production. It has Hollywood production value. And great theme song. I love the theme song to Nightfire. Love the opening. I would sit there and just watch the opening for an hour because I liked it so much. And this has like real actors and stuff, real world actors playing, their 3D characters or whatnot for the game. Obviously, Pierce Brosnan as well. And these games are so good, and the multiplayer was really good in these games. Loved them. I played them. Like I said, I played them almost as much as I played GoldenEye. Nightfire's multiplayer, as I did. So, really good game. I love this game. And here's another one. Like, why didn't whoever was writing the plots and this whatnot to these James Bond games should have been writing the freaking movies, because these games were way better. This game had Heidi Klum, which is right here she's right there on the front, and Shannon Elizabeth. Shannon Elizabeth, if you don't remember, she was in the Scary Movies, or it's the first one anyway. She's the rich hot girl. Well, she was also in American Pie. She was the foreign exchange student in American Pie. That Jim, had that famous scene where he gets happy and overly excited way too early before he gets the girl. but she's in this as well. So they're technically both Bond girls, Heidi Klum and Shannon Elizabeth. But this is like a really high production. Should have been the Bond movie over, what was the third one, or the third Pierce Brosnan one? The world is not. Was it the world is not enough? I didn't care for that as much. It worked most of the time, and then obviously Die Another Day. Meh, these should have been his movies, and he would have been way more respected and remembered. I like Tomorrow Never Dies, Mackenzie. Yeah, you're wrong. Tomorrow Never Dies was good. I didn't care for The World Was Not Enough. Christmas Jones, I think your girl's name was. It was just really stupid, really bad puns. But anyway, really good Bond game. I didn't like this one as much, but I still bought it because I like the other Bond games and Agent Under Fire. I'm surprised so many people like this game because this game feels way more bullet spongy. This game was definitely not made by the same people who made Nightfire and Everything or Nothing. At least that's what I believe. Let me see if I can find that out right now. It just says EA on the back. It doesn't say the studio who made it. Yeah, it doesn't say. Dang it. But anyway, this feels like a completely different Bond game because, like I said, it's really bullet spongy. The impact is off. The speed of the bullets, it almost feels like they're in slow motion sometimes when you're firing. It just feels very different to the other ones. Now, some people really like this one. I don't know why. Agent Under Fire. It's not terrible, but it's not up to par with the other two that I showed you. So, and I don't really remember the story in this one as much as I do the other two. And we spoke about this game earlier in the chat anyway, and that is Simpsons Hit and Run. Classic game. If you own a GameCube or any game system that era, you have to have Simpsons Hit and Run. Great game. My favorite Simpsons game. Open world game. You can hop in cars. It's like GTA, built in the Simpsons world, and it's really fun. Really good. Graphically great. Looks just like the show. Love this game. What can you say? Simpsons Hit and Run. Great. And here we are. Burnout 2, Point of Impact. Like I said, this is the game that made the Burnout series famous. Although I really loved the first one. I liked them when they were smaller games and not other people were paying attention except for me. But this is great because of the crash mode was awesome. It's still awesome. I played it not too long ago, maybe a week ago. It's still a lot of fun to play the crash mode and cause as much damage as you possibly can. Great. It's awesome. Acclaim. This is their last hurrah. It feels like there's a game in here. I don't know. But yeah, great series. This is a great sequel. All right. Oh boy. Let me look and see. You guys are saying here. Loved Everything or Nothing. Me and my cousin used to play that heavy. Says good money now. Rock, yeah. One of the writers on that game co-wrote The World Is Not Enough and wrote GoldenEye. Holy crap, Rock, yeah. Thank you for that. I didn't even know that, but they should have continued writing. The World Is Not Enough isn't a poorly written game or story-wise. It seemed a little bit too serious. I think that's why they went way off the deep end when they made the next one, which is Die Another Day. Because The World Is Not Enough was kind of serious and kind of slow, and maybe that's why they decided to go back to the Roger Moore stuff and Die Another Day. But yeah, that's interesting to know. Some of the guns in Agent Under Fire sound like blasters. Yeah, it have weird audio. I didn't even mention that, but yeah, the audio is weird. Thanks, Mackenzie. Gotta go. The family is calling me, says Mackenzie. Oh, man. Hope you can come back. Hey, T, which do you like better, Simpsons Hit and Run or Crazy Taxi? I love Simpsons Hit and Run. It's hands down. Crazy Taxi is a great arcade game. It's fun for a little while for me. But Hit and Run, it has way more personality, characters that I love. Like I said, it's not just driving around. It's an open world that you interact with. You do things in. You do platforming. There's platforming levels. And the Simpsons characters. I mean, you can't beat that. I love Crazy Taxi. Don't get me twisted, but I would easily pick Simpsons Hit and Run over it any day. Um, let's see. Rock, yeah, the other two writers wrote a lot of the Medal of Honor games too. Wow. See, I didn't even think about that. It makes a lot of sense now because I love those games, and it's EA. Obviously, they're going to keep using their people. So yeah, that's really cool to know. Yeah, great. Thanks for sharing that, Rock. Yeah, good information. Um, oh boy, here's a classic. You ready for this classic, y'all? Big mother truckers. That's a great pun. For a pretty fun game from THQ. This game, if you know THQ Nordic is digging into their backlog. I don't know if this would be as acceptable today because there is some kind of risque um, post wokeness stuff in these games that might piss people off. But I mean, look. I mean, just look right there. You know, like they play up, you know, over sexualization and stuff like that. Oh, down here too. Yeah, there you go. Of certain characters, she's kind of like Daisy Dukes from Dukes of Hazzard, basically. But really fun, cool game. Like pretty cool concept. This is back in again. This is extreme sports era, really edgy type of game that may not work as well for some people these days, as far as some of the humor and stuff. But classic. I think it's a classic. You know, it's a new classic game. Pretty cool. Big mother trucker. I mean, the title alone is just godlike. You know. And here we go. Here we go. Beautiful Joe. I mean, come on. Henshin and Go Go, baby. This is that game series, right? I don't know why these games didn't sell. Well, maybe it's because it was GameCube, and like I said, GameCube didn't sell crazy well as far as the hardware goes. So maybe just people just missed it. And these games were not easy. These were tough games, often frustrating games to play, but so much style and creativity. This is, oh my god, I can't think of the name. Hideki Kamiya's team, Platinum Games. This is Platinum Games. I think this is their first game, if I'm not mistaken. This is when they were under Capcom and whatnot, and this is a great series. This, very reminiscent, very much the beginnings of Wonder Red. Your character, Beautiful Joe, there. So it's very obvious that it harkens. Oh my gosh, the Wonderful 101 harkens back to this design style and whatnot. This is a 2D side scroller, and it has like this kind of movie, kind of film roll aesthetic to it. Great games, man. These games were some of the reasons I really love GameCube. And obviously they eventually went to other platforms, but initially this was a only for, it says it right there, right? Only for Nintendo GameCube. This was a exclusive at first, and yeah, great stuff. Now the sequel wasn't, because I guess it didn't sell that great, and so Capcom was like, I mean, maybe it was a deal thing. So Beautiful Joe 2. I think this is just a tad bit better than the first one, but great. I mean, they're both great. You can't go wrong. If you have a GameCube and you don't have these games, I'm gonna say that for a few games, you're using your GameCube wrong. You're not using your GameCube right if you don't have the Beautiful Joe series on your GameCube. So there you go. My stack's getting shaky. Maybe I should start another one here. Yeah. All right. So I was somewhat of a fan of Crash on PS1 or PSX, as they like to say, as the cool kids say. And so I continue to play the Crash games on GameCube, but they were not as good. I mean, well, they were different. They were more 3D platformers than they were on the original PlayStation. So I appreciated these games. I thought they were good games. And it's not like the original Crash games were great games. Some people act like they are because maybe they only own the PlayStation, so that was the best they can get for platforming games. But I like the Crash Wrath of Cortex game, and the other one I can't remember the name of it, but I don't have it anymore. But yeah, this is a good game. I thought it was good. I thought it was a decent game. Crash may have lost a little bit of his edge, but I thought they expanded his abilities and what he can do in this game. And Universal, this wasn't Activision yet, was it? No. Universal Interactive, before Activision completely took over that series. So, yeah. And then we have Crash Tag Team Racing. Again, a lot of people fan over the first one, Crash Team Racing. It was okay. I don't think it was a great kart racing game. I thought it was a good kart racing game. And this one was probably not as good as the first one, but still fun. You know, it was a decent game. So, Crash Tag Team Racing. All right, let's see. Good Money Now. Beautiful Joe was a classic. Is a classic. The Game Master Beautiful Joe needs to come back for sure. Right Chance. What's up, guys? Had to download Mario Sunshine to my Wii U. Choose PS2 over GameCube. Big mistake. Mario Sunshine to your Wii U. So what do you have, like one of those? What do you call it? You have an emulator. Because I was thinking about doing that for my Wii U as well. I was gonna get another one and like crack that one. So I got both of them, says the Game Master. Yes, those are great games. And now, moving on to Mega Man Anniversary Collection. Yeah. So this has all the original Mega Man games. Right? It has Mega Man 1 through 9, if I'm not mistaken. And oh no, it has more than that, right? See, this is a repro case, so I can't really read it. I don't remember. Again, the collection games, it's hard for me to remember what's in them. But I like, my collection games. I remember one thing I didn't like about this was that the controls were reversed in this version. Like the A and B buttons were reversed, so it was kind of hard to get used to. If I'm not mistaken, if you know, let me say it down in the chat or whatnot. But that was the one thing I didn't like about this, if I'm not mistaken. At least on the GameCube version. I don't know if any other version had it or not. It says something about G4. This is hard to read because this isn't a great repro cover anyway. But it's decent. Looks good, right? So, yeah. All right. Nintendo modded Wii U. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Your Wii U's modded. I'm going to mod mine, or I'm going to get one to mod, I should say. All right. Gauntlet Legacy, Dark Legacy. Really fun co-op dungeon crawler based type of game. I have this on N64 as well, and it's a great party game. It's 4 players at one time. It's a little slow, a little choppy-ish. At least the N64 version was. This version is a little better. Obviously, it has more graphical power behind it. And a good party game, Get 4 people together and just run through all these dungeons. So, pretty cool. And Midway, another RIP, Midway. This is their last era as well. All right. Here's another one of my faves nobody talks about. Not really. I believe it's PC, right? It started off on the Baldur's Gate games. This is Dark Alliance. Really like this game. People talk about Diablo all the time, but I rarely hear people talk about Baldur's Gate. Really like this game on GameCube. I'm sure it was pretty much everywhere else too, probably. But I like those isometric, kind of top-down dungeon crawlers, and Dark Alliance was a good one. All right. Hey, would love to be watching this right now, but I am working, sadly. Oh, sorry, Rob, but I guess you can watch it later. Watch the replay. But don't forget, y'all, GameCube is the bomb diggy. And the Dark Alliance game are badass. All right. Yeah, I really like Dark Alliance. The Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance games. All right. Let's see if I can reach this without causing a avalanche. All right, sliding it over. Slowly sliding it over. We're finally on my last stack. Finally on the last stack. This has gone by a lot quicker than I thought it would. I think because before, when I did, like, say, the Switch collection, there was a lot. I did a lot more talking in between, and I want to get through these. And so this stack here is some of the best games. I try to save as many as I could. Best games on the system. Some of these are really collectible, pretty expensive. But again, I bought the games when they came out. It wasn't like, oh, I gotta get that game because it's expensive or it's a collectible game. So here we go. You ready for some Star Wars goodness? Thanks, T. I'll catch a replay, bro. Says Rob. All right, Rob. I'll see you later. Have fun at work. Wii U has GameCube hardware, right? Are you going to get Crystal Chronicles on the Switch? Yes, Wii U does have GameCube hardware. It's Power PC based. They basically could have gone back on the Wii U. They basically could have emulated GameCube games, but for some reason, I think for the price of the cost, they wanted to keep the cost down because the Wii U was already more expensive than they wanted it to be. So I think they decided not to go back to GameCube for cost reasons, sadly. But it's pretty easy to mod it to play GameCube. So that's the thing. But as far as Crystal Chronicles, I don't know. I'm not sure. And I'll get to why, but I don't know. I'll probably get it. We'll see. All right, so I don't remember how I got this. It probably had to do with a pre-order bonus or something. But this is Star Wars Rebel Strike preview demo. And it comes with the original, Star Wars arcade games. And I don't remember how I got this or if it was a, what do you call it? If it was from Nintendo Power or if I just pre-ordered, I can't remember. But yeah, limited edition preview disc. And I thought this was probably going to be the only way to play the original games. I thought that was kind of a cool incentive. But the actual game ended up also not only having the first arcade game, but the second one as well. So yeah, you could play, or maybe all three of them. I can't remember. But there's the original arcade games are built into Rebel Strike, the game. This is just a demo, preview demo. So let's start with this bad boy, which is, I rebought this game later. That's why it says Player's Choice at the top. But I bought this game on launch. And some of these games I did go back and buy. GameCube, I wanted to mention this earlier, I forgot. But GameCube was one of the game systems that I ended up having to rebuy stuff because I had young brothers and sisters at the time, and I would often give them these games and game systems and whatnot, GameCube era, which was a waste because they didn't take good care of the stuff. I actually found one of the purple GameCubes because I gave it to them. I came to the house one day after I had moved out, and I found it like under some clothes pile in the bathroom. That's where I found the GameCube, and I decided I'm going to rescue that GameCube. It's the one that's all scratched up, the most scratched up one. I can't get to it now, but so a lot of GameCube stuff I ended up having to rebuy later, and this is one of the games, and that's why it has player choice on it. But I did buy this game day one, and it blew my stinking mind. It blew my mind how the visuals were. And I remember either LucasArts or somebody talking about, maybe it was Factor 5, talking about the graphical fidelity, how it looked like the special edition stuff. And sometimes, I think they were going a little too far with that. But it looked really good. This game still looks really good. 60 frames per second, folks. This is a 60 FPS game, and it still looks really good and runs really well and very playable today. I wish they would bring these back on Switch instead of those Jedi Academy games, remaster these. These games are fantastic. It's probably they probably can't because of like licensing and whatnot, but great game. I mean, I loved Rogue Squadron on N64. That blew my mind too, especially the sound design. But these games, Factor 5, are geniuses, and they did some really good stuff with the hardware, Nintendo hardware. And then you have the full game of Rebel Strike. A lot of people don't like the on foot stuff in this game. I actually think this game is graphically better looking than Rogue Squadron 2. And the on foot mission people don't like because the camera's a little wonky. I find it to be fine. I think it's okay. And they had no really where to go after Rebel Strike or Rogue Squadron 2. So they just, let's throw some foot mission stuff in. I thought it was cool. I thought it looked good. Graphically, the game looked great. And sound design is top notch, mind blowing stuff. So, all right. I never played Baldur's Gate, says the Game Master. You should. A great series. I think still playable, pretty playable today. All right. If you know me, I'm not a huge fan of the prequels as far as the story goes, and I really like the visuals in it. Actually, let me take that back. I like the story. I just don't like the script and some of the acting, a lot of the acting, and places where some of the story went. But Star Wars Bounty Hunter is a pretty good game based on the prequels. This is not Boba Fett. This is Jango. That's Jango Fett. There, you play as him, and you're doing Jango Fett things. You're doing bounty hunter stuff. Pretty cool. I like how it starts. The game starts really quickly. You get right into it. You're chasing down this guy. You're going through like an arena, and you face a monster, and there's a bunch of guards, all kinds of stuff. Really good opening to this game. I do remember getting stuck a lot of times in this game, though, because it's kind of confusing on where to go sometimes, because it's multi-layered. Sometimes you can get on top of things and go really high into a level, and you're not sure, and then there's maybe some kind of opening at the top, but it's hard to, and then there's a lot of maze-like levels sometimes, but it's still a really fun game, graphically nice, really good audio. All the LucasArts games had great audio, had that Dolby, had that the THX sound and whatnot. So good stuff. All right. Somebody mentioned Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and here we go. So Crystal Chronicles, I wanted Final Fantasy to come back to the Nintendo where it belonged. That never really happened. Still hasn't happened to this day. Like fully come back. But so the Crystal Chronicle games, I say games because is there 2 on Wii? I think there's 2 on Wii. It's late, but I want to play the GameCube, says Rock, yeah. Yeah, so this is the reason I'm not sure. I mean, because I like Crystal Chronicles. I don't know if I'm ready to jump back in and play like a remastered version or not. But I'm sure I'll pick it up. Knowing me, I will. But good games. And I say games again because there's only 1 on GameCube, but I believe there's 2 Crystal Chronicle games on the Wii. And people don't remember that at all. Maybe you'll see that in my Wii collection video. But yeah, good game. And that's why I'm not sure if I'm going to get it or not. But I most likely will. It's not, because it's not like I haven't bought remasters of games I already own. I have, so. All right. Everybody's favorite, Baten Kaitos. The GameCube, this is one of the GameCube's faults. It didn't have a ton of RPGs on it, especially like big, expansive ones. And so when they did come, they got pretty much a lot of accolades. A lot of people talked about this game. I don't think it sold that great. Could be wrong. But there's a sequel, right? Because I don't have the sequel. I feel like there's a part 2 on GameCube. Let me know in the comment or in the chat. Gotta work. Also, just wanted to say hi, but T, if you need help with Wii U, I can send your stuff. Gmail, you could help. GBA and Chronicles was awesome. Yeah. But yeah, really good game. I like this a lot. I'm not as huge a fan as everybody else, but I like the visual style. I like the storyline. I wasn't the biggest fan of the combat, but I mean it's good. It's not bad. So yeah, Bates and Kaitos, Eternal Wings and Lost Ocean. Oh boy. La 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 la. This is one of those Saturday morning cartoon games. Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg from the creators of Sonic, as you see right there. I love this stinking game. This game has a great um, premise, has a great what do you call it? Theme song. I was just kind of humming there. It's not a song; it's just kind of a hum tune, and it's great. I love it. I love the idea of you playing this kind of chicken boy. You basically have this suit, this special suit that allows you to do chicken stuff. I mean, not really, but hen, not hen because hens are girls, right? I don't remember. Anyway, this is so quirky, very Sega. I think this game did not sell well, also, but really good. Like it had some, gameplay quirks to it that maybe needed some tweaking, but um, Billy Hatcher is a great character, and I'm surprised he did not catch on. This again felt like a Saturday morning cartoon. You're playing it, and one of the last great ideas from Sega, and unfortunately didn't do that well. Didn't sell that well. This is a exclusive. This is still to this day. I think there's a PC version, but you can't play that anymore because it's like Windows 2000 or something. Um, but maybe it's on Steam. I don't know. But this is an exclusive to GameCube still game. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it is. Great stuff. It's a platformer, 3D platformer. You have these giant eggs you roll around. That's the mechanic. You smash stuff using the eggs, and you hatch them. It's crazy. It's a great 3D platformer though. Love it. Yeah. Oh boy. Talk about collectible and expensive. I just recently looked this up because I didn't know. I had no idea that this game was very expensive, like $200. And that is Skies of Arcadia Legends. Now, this is a Dreamcast game, but there is more content to this one. They tweaked some stuff in this version. There's some exclusive content to this version of the game, and so maybe that's. I mean, even the original one is expensive. So I don't know if they just didn't make a whole lot or what, but this is a great RPG on the GameCube and Dreamcast. But this is the better version. This is the definitive version before they even talked about that. And this game is very collectible. And when people say collectible, that means expensive. I've seen it go for 200 plus. So glad to have this in my collection. But again, I didn't buy it because it was expensive. When I bought it, I think I paid $40 for it. So, but it goes for a lot more than that now. And so did this game, which kind of surprised me. But now that I think about it, it makes sense. Chibi Robo, the original Chibi Robo, the one that started it all. Plug into adventure. This game is so quirky and cool, so Japanese, so Nintendo. You play as this little robo character where you're basically doing all these tasks. You're trying to keep this family happy, and you have to plug yourself in to an outlet before you run out of energy, basically. And it's just so cool, so quirky, so fun. There's another game on DS, which was closer to this, but that Ziplash trash on 3DS, don't even. Only reason I really bought that one was because of the amiibo. They get the Chibi Robo amiibo, which I had to have. I basically bought that game for that. It's it's just really generic side-scrolling game. side-scrolling platformer. Not this game. I'm talking about Ziplash on 3DS. This game is really cool. I love this game. And, this is one of those Nintendo IPs that people forget about, including Nintendo. But this game is also really collectible. I don't think it's as expensive as Skies of Arcadia, but it's definitely over 100 at this point. Well, at least in box, in case. So, this is the one that started it all. Y'all, all the people going crazy over New Horizons right now. But this is basically the not updated version. But yeah, I guess it's updated. This game came out in Japan only on N64, and it was Animal. What was it called then? Not Animal. I want to say Animal Planet, but that's not it. Animal Forest. Animal Forest. It was Animal Forest on N64, and then they moved it to the GameCube for us folks on the West, and bumped up the graphics and whatnot. And it's Animal Crossing, and this is the game that started it all. This was a very popular game on GameCube, and like I said, GameCube didn't have, to me, crazy hits. This wasn't a crazy hit, but this was a bona fide hit. And I remember, again, G4, they would always talk about how they played this game in the office, and they would leave presents and things for each other and stuff like that. So this was the beginnings of what we have now, obviously. And this is a great series. Animal Crossing. Great stuff. I love the game within game stuff in this game. Really cool. I wish they would brought that back for... maybe they did. I haven't gotten far enough in the game. Maybe they did bring that back. All right. Here's another classic. Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. I love this game. I'm not sure if I like this one the most out of this era series, or if I like 2 better. But this is a classic. This is on everything pretty much back then. And Ubisoft, basically this ended up becoming, what are the games called? Assassin's Creed. Because they're very similar in, kind of some aesthetics and whatnot. And I think that's why Ubisoft won't really make another Prince of Persia game, because maybe they feel like it'll end up being too similar to Assassin's Creed. I don't know, but really cool game. Let's see. Sell It To Me T, says the game has to sell you what? This is the game I wish Ubisoft would bring back. Yeah, yes, Prince of Persia, great series. Love those games. And I also wish Ubisoft would bring it back. Is it Ubisoft or Ubisoft? I say Ubisoft. All right. Here's one that I would really love to see. And this supposedly is being worked on, this sequel, but I don't know if this game will ever be put out. And that is Beyond Good and Evil. This is one of my favorite games to play on the GameCube back in the day. Love this game. And I believe this game came out within a week of this game or something like that. And it just got buried. People forgot about it. Because this game is fantastic. Still very playable today. If you haven't played Beyond Good and Evil, play it, please. I think it's on Steam, like a higher res version and whatnot. But you gotta play Beyond Good and Evil. This game is so good, so forgotten for some reason. And like I said, Ubisoft is supposed to be working on the sequel. They've been working on the sequel for like 15 years or something, and they just keep pushing it and changing ideas and stuff. I don't know why. This game is so solid, and this game did not sell well on any system. Unfortunately, I think it was a timing thing. Obviously Beyond Good and Evil was a new IP. Maybe that hurt it too. I don't know. But this game is so underappreciated. And it needs love. If you have a GameCube or even Xbox or PS2, I think it's on PS2 as well, get this game. Get it. Or Steam. Hey T, did you see Ubisoft's canceled Prince of Persia Redemption? I did, and it hurt my heart. I did not like that. But games get canceled all the time. The Game Master says, "Sell me Billy Hatcher, Rogue Squadron 3, both versions, and Skies Arcade." No. Yeah, I think Billy Hatcher as well is somewhat collectible. Um, it's starting to get up there in price. Like I said, it didn't sell well. They probably didn't make that many. So there you go. All right, we're getting towards the end here, sadly. All right, so ow, shoulder. I'm having a shoulder issue since that long drive I took. All right, product number 3. This is part of the Capcom 5 or whatever it's called. This is probably the weakest game in that collection of games. I feel like it just wasn't quite finished. Basically because of the level design. The character design is great, brilliant. It's visually a nice looking game, but it's kind of just like I said, it looks unfinished. It looks like they just didn't put a lot of detail in some of the levels. So it's a cool stylized action game, but I think they call it product number 3 because it was unfinished. They couldn't come up with a name with it. This is just like the code name, and they just said, "Oh, let's just stick with that and put it out." But it's it's a fun action game for the most part. Like I said, very stylish, very stylish. Oh, here's another one of those games from the GameCube era that's getting a remaster soon, and that is 13. 13 is a very cool, very stylish, cel-shaded first-person shooter game that has, like, what do you call it, comic book style, whatnot, as you can tell from the cover art there. Ubisoft doing their thing, and let's go ahead and get a look at the back there. You can see the comic book style, the comic visuals and whatnot. Very cool game. Like it a lot. Will I pick it up again? I don't know when it comes out, but maybe I will because I want to see how. Because the graphic style really lends itself well to holding up after all these years. So, yeah. Master Yoshi, sorry I'm late. I was sleeping. You don't have to apologize, my man. I'm glad you can join. You are pretty late, though. We're in the last 20 or so games here. But, yeah. 13, good game. PNO3 looked like such a cool game. I played the demo, and it was really cool. This is Master Yoshi. Can you start over? LOL. I'll just watch it later. Yeah, watch the replay. All right, and here's another stylish game from the Capcom 5. Capcom 5. And that is Killer 7. Yeah, and this was basically the beginnings of stuff like, I don't know, Travis Touchdown and No More Heroes, with the assassins and whatnot. This is, oh my gosh, what is his name? Suda51. This is, I don't know if this is his first game or not, but this is a very Suda51 game here. And it's really good, and you also should play this. I believe there is an HD version on PC, on Steam. If you don't have the GameCube, or if you don't want to go back to the GameCube to play it. So it is a very stylish, very Suda game. That's all I'll say. Very out there, just like Suda is, and really good game. A lot of good people, good studios and whatnot came out of early Capcom, or not early Capcom, but 2000Z Capcom. So, like Platinum Games. All right. Spawn, Armageddon, easily, at least as far as I'm concerned, easily the best Spawn game. I'm trying to read what you're saying if you're wondering what I'm doing. The Game Master. You posted, Suda51 wants to bring back Killer 7. Yes, I did hear that, and I hope that happens. That game needs to come back. People need to play it. So maybe hang out, maybe hang around, and Killer 7 will come back on modern consoles. But yeah, Spawn Armageddon, to me, is the best representation of Spawn, the best Spawn game I've played anyway. You know, he uses his powers well, nice visuals. What's up, Jonathan Reed? What's up? Nice graphics, like I said, nice graphics, and he uses his powers well. I think I said that already. This is one of the few games that does that. So, and you know, it's a good, you know, action brawler, and it's a lot of fun. I like this game a lot. This is one of my favorites. Superhero games. All right, I'm actually re-going through this series right now. And this is The Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen 2. Really good series of games if you haven't played them. You guys maybe remember stuff like Soul Reaver on Dreamcast. These are really good games, nice lore. This is Amy Hennig. I believe she worked on this game, but she was definitely there for the beginning of this series. I don't know if she went through all the games or not, but probably. I'm pretty sure she did. And she is so underappreciated, I think, as a writer, producer in gaming. She went on to do Uncharted, the Uncharted series. I believe she was in The Last of Us as well. She's a great writer. And like I said, a really good producer in video games. And she needs to be touted a lot more. But anyway, great series. Like I said, I'm going through it again right now. I'm on the first one, and I'm going to work my way up. The series is kind of weird because it goes Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen, and then it goes Soul Reaver, and then Soul Reaver 2, and then it comes back to Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen 2, then it goes to Defiant, something like that. It's a little weird, but I'm playing them in order. So there you go. Resident Evil 0. All right, so this is the part of the Capcom 5, I believe, as well. Resident Evil 0. This was a new Resident Evil game. Was this the first co-op one? I think it was. But you know, people are mixed on this. I like it. I thought it was a good game. I definitely liked the visuals. I was kind of a graphics hoe at the time. This was a really good looking Resident Evil game. And all these games have been remade and resold, remastered, if you will, on modern consoles and whatnot. Overpriced on Switch, by the way. I think there's a good sale on them right now, though. So I don't know if Zero's in it or not. But yeah, I'm trying to read what it says. Oh yeah, 2 discs. So as you can see, the games aren't in here. By the way, I didn't mention a lot of them. I keep my games on a spool. I meant to have it to show you what it looks like. I know I showed you in another video, but I keep the games on a DVD spool so I can have quick access to them instead of having to go back to the cases and open and close them. And one thing I really don't like is pulling GameCube games out of here. I feel like over time that middle wears out because this is really tight on the middle circle, the way it snaps and stuff. So I keep the games off the spool. But these are better to protect the games because they get oxygen, too much oxygen, they oxidize and whatnot. And it can mess up the discs, but oh well. All right, so this game just came out or got remastered recently, and that is Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. And really like this game. Apparently, Nemesis is still as frustrating, maybe less so in the new version or whatever. But cool game. For me, this felt like the end of the series in a way, as far as like the old style of how Resident Evil works before Resident Evil 4, which I don't have on GameCube anymore. I used to. I have the Wii version. That's the definitive version. But pretty cool game. Nemesis is dope. So, all right. Now here's another one. Can you read what that says? Yeah. This is one of those games where I'm missing the artwork because it got damaged. And this is the original, or this is the Resident Evil remake, the original Resident Evil remake. And let's pop it open because I'd probably keep the disc in this. Yep. And there's the disc. And here's the thing: people used to complain about, or not complain, but people say, "Oh, about the GameCube failing and why it failed," and people would say, "Oh my God, it's because the discs were too small, blah blah blah." But this was not a hard thing to do. Like this wasn't a new thing for GameCube either. PlayStation had multiple disc games, mostly the Final Fantasy games. So the small, disc size of the GameCube did not hurt its sales. It did not hurt uh, third parties or any of that nonsense. People would say third parties didn't like the size of the GameCube disc. Well, they had been doing this already. There was plenty of games during the Dreamcast era and the like I said, PS1 era that had multiple discs. So why did that change when it came to the GameCube? That was egregious. And then past the GameCube, the 360 has games with multiple discs. One that I can think off at the top of my head is LA Noire. So I don't know. People, they try to find something that they feel is not good and try to say, "Oh, that's the reason why." That's the reason why. But there were plenty of multi-disc games, and it never hurt anybody to have a multi-disc game on GameCube. So that was never a problem. Let's see here. I like his sword. Oh wait, let me back up. Masayoshi says, "Oh, what's up, Jonathan Reed? I don't know if I said what's up to you or not. I probably did. Let's see. Masayoshi, I love Blood Omen 2. It's the only game from the franchise I played and beat. Also, I played it on the GameCube. I like his sword and the way he drains the blood from the victims was hilarious, but also cool. I beat Resident Evil 0, and I also enjoyed it. I wish 2 and 3 were remade in that fashion." Yeah, and for some reason, back then I thought they were being remade, but no, they were just, kind of scaled up ports of the PS1 PS1 game. I don't think it had anything to do with the N64 one, but it was still cool because it was really cool to have every Resident Evil game on one console. That was a cool thing. From Resident Evil 1 to Code Veronica to Resident Evil 4, all on one console. That hadn't happened. That was the first time it happened. It was on GameCube. The Kitty console, the purple lunchbox console. So that was cool that happened. So I definitely appreciated that, even though they weren't remastered. Now here is another repro artwork, not a case, because the case is authentic, but the artwork is repro. But I like the artwork better. I don't know if this is official artwork from a different version or a different region of the game, but here we have Metal Gear Solid, the Twin Snakes from Silicon Knights. And I love this case way better than the original case. It has that kind of 3D render snake on the front. So I like this one much better. And let's open it up because I think I keep the game. Yeah, I keep the game in here. The games. Again, another multi-disc GameCube game that nobody has a problem with. This didn't affect anything to have multi-discs. And this game was, as you guys know, famously put together by Silicon Knights. Is basically a remaster of Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation 1, PSX, and with some new content, new abilities, first-person stuff. Basically, they took stuff from Metal Gear Solid 2 and, basically gameplay abilities and put it into 1 and, updated the graphics. And I'm not the biggest fan of Metal Gear, like I said. I've tried and tried. I've never been able to get into Metal Gear. But this is a very, very good remake of the first game. So there you go. And I love this case. put it in Photoshop myself, and it's a little short, but still works pretty well. Look at that back, nice, really nice. All right. And speaking of Silicon Knights, Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, another fan favorite on the GameCube. For me, I love this game's atmosphere, graphics, story. Love all that. To me, the gameplay doesn't hold up as much. Back then when it happened, the sanity meter stuff, that was very cool, and it's still really nice. I believe this game is 60 frames a second too, so it still runs and looks really nice. But some of the hack and slash kind of gameplay doesn't hold up as much, but it's still a really good game. And Silicon Knights was working on this since N64, and I remember seeing N64 screens of the game, and they got ported over to the GameCube, and I'm glad it did, because a lot of stuff that happened in this version that the N64 couldn't have been able to do. And really good game. This game needs more sequels. Come on, Nintendo. All right. Here's a game that, again, nobody talks about. It's very forgotten. A lot of people. It's very underrated, super inventive, clever gameplay design, and that is Geist. And this is a Nintendo published game. I think, who's the developer? InSpace. This is one of those games for me. If you got a GameCube and you don't have this game, you're using your GameCube wrong. Because this is another, to this day, exclusive to the GameCube game. I don't think this is expensive right now, which is surprising, because I would think a game like this would be expensive as heck. But the premise of this game is you're a ghost, and you have abilities to either climb into other people, and you have to scare your way into them. You can't just take your mist and fly into another person. You have to scare them. You have to get them so scared that you're able to possess them. But you can also possess items, and you can scare them possessing those items and stuff. And that's a way to possess them. This game is so inventive, but this is also a first-person shooter in many aspects and many times. So, is it first person or third person? Let me see if I haven't played it in so long. It might be third. I think it's first person. So there's that, but it's like a tactical strategy-ish FPS, really cool story and great gameplay mechanic. And this game needs to come back in some way, shape, or fashion. And because this came out really late, I believe, in the GameCube, and people just didn't look at it. They just overlooked it because of that. And this game needs a second chance. And someday, hopefully. All right. Another underrated, kind of often forgotten game on GameCube is Wario World. This is Wario's first 3D-ish game. It's more 2D, but you can move like in a 3D space. The camera doesn't always move, so it's not a 3D game that way. But this game is really, for me, it's really addictive, because you're collecting all this treasure all the time. You can go back and refight enemies and just get more and more gold, and because Wario loves his gold. If you know Wario. This game is super underrated, often forgotten. This might be expensive too, I don't know, but I don't think it's sold that great. I don't know why, because it's technically a Mario game. It has a major Mario character, but at the time, Wario was kind of relegated to Game Boy with the WarioWare games and stuff like that. But yeah, I love this game. Great game. Here's another launch. Okay, so this is a launch title that I know I bought at launch and forgot. Because some reason it's kind of forgettable. And I hate to say that, because it's Wave Race Blue Storm. And I was watching. I think it was Metal Jesus Rocks. He's a kind of a vintage, kind of a not vintage. He's a retro gamer. He does a lot of retro stuff, did a lot of PC stuff. He used to work for Sierra, and he has all this history within him about video games. And I remember he did like a GameCube buyer's guide or something, and he had Wave Race, and he's a huge fan, just like me, huge fan of Wave Race on N64. But he said something that felt like it came right out of my head when he talked about Blue Storm. He's like, it's a solid game. The water physics, all that stuff is great. It still works really well, but there's something that just didn't work for him. Something he couldn't put his finger on it. Something didn't mesh in the way the original N64 game did, and I totally agree with that. I was like, that's exactly how I feel about Wave Race. There's nothing wrong with this game, but there's something off about it. And I totally agree with Metal Jesus on that. I don't know what it is, but there's something off about this game. But it's a good game. I mean, I just don't get it. But like I said, I bought this launch title, and this is the one launch title I always forget to mention that I bought. And I bought it on the strength of the original one, and it just didn't hit for me as well as that one did, and maybe that's why I don't remember it. So, but yeah, Wave Race Blue Storm, good game. And here's a launch title I do remember. Remember being very short over before I knew it, and I wanted it to be a Mario game because up until then, Nintendo launched all their hardware with Mario games, Mario platformers. And that game demo is Luigi's Mansion, the original Luigi's Mansion. Beautiful, beautiful game, 60 frames, all that good stuff, beautiful animation. I still think when Luigi opens a door, I feel like they separate those segments and put all the graphical power they can into the animation of Luigi opening a door to go through a new room, because it looks so clean even now. The graphical, the visual style of it, the animation of it looks so clean, and yeah. But this is a tech demo basically. It's a really good game, don't get me wrong, but it's over way too quick. And it's a lot of it has to do with what the GameCube can do visually, and that's fine. I mean, that's fine. But like I said, this was the beginning of me seeing the chinks in the armor with the GameCube. Is that this game wasn't very fulfilling for me. As far as the length of it, I wanted it to last a little longer, and it wasn't a Mario game. I had to get over that. It's not a Mario game at launch like we always gotten on Nintendo hardware. But I love this game, love the series, and I love Luigi's Mansion 3. It's one of my favorite games ever. So this game evolved into a fully awesome series. This game evolved into a really great game. With Dark Moon, as far as I'm concerned, Dark Moon on 3DS is phenomenal, and Luigi's Mansion 3 incorporates this game and Dark Moon together really well. So, yeah, good game. Oh boy, oh boy. Let's see. Even a port of Wii with pointer controls would be epic. Can't believe it didn't get a sequel. Which game? Oh, Geist. Yeah. I played Geist mostly on my my Wii. So through emulation. So because that's how late it came out on the GameCube. All right. Here we go. I rebought this game, as you will see, because it's a player's choice, but I did buy this game day one when it came out. It was June or July 2003. Can't remember. I know it came out in the summer months, around my birthday. And it was a very summer-themed game, and that is Super Mario Sunshine. Woo! And as I said, this is a repurchase because a Mario game is an easy game for me to give my siblings. So I gave it away to one of my siblings, probably around the time I got a Wii, and let them keep it. And like I said, I had to save my GameCube that I gave them because I found it in the bathroom. They didn't care. And so I went back and rebought Mario Sunshine. And this is not my favorite 3D platformer from Mario. This is my least favorite 3D Mario game. For me, and I've said this before, it is not polished. It's not up to par from what I expect from Nintendo 3D platformers, especially Mario platformers. It's visually beautiful. Like, there's no denying that. The water is gorgeous. The worlds are gorgeous. The variety in the worlds, not so much, because, like I said, it's a summer-themed game, so there's not, like, your ice level. There's not all that kind of stuff. It's very much on the island. So this game has, for me, and a lot of people don't agree, control issues. I don't like how Mario doesn't, he over-responds or under-responds. I just remember falling off ledges for no good reason. No fault of my own. A lot. Because he just doesn't stop, or he moves too quickly. He doesn't quite move with the analog kind of slower walks that he needs to. I wasn't a fan of the FLUDD. Now you got to remember, context. Context, I was already disappointed that I didn't get a game like this at launch for the GameCube. And I got this game with, Luigi with a backpack gimmick, right? So by the time, I finally got my 3D Mario game, I was happy to finally get it. You come with this, and Mario has a 3D backpack gimmick. Now, to most people, they don't understand that. You don't understand where I'm coming from when I talk about that. But I was kind of annoyed by that. I'm not a huge fan of the FLUDD. I felt like it was a bit confusing. It was a bit confused in its design. It works pretty cool with the analogs and whatnot. How you slowly pressurize and all that kind of stuff. But I felt like the controlling it wasn't the best. Like the different nozzles weren't as cool as I think Nintendo wanted them to be. And so I had issue with that. I don't like the Piantas. I've talked about that so many times. I don't like I feel like they're stupid designs. If you're old school like me, you remember that Sunshine, the betas, showed like human NPCs on Isle Delfino. There were still Piantas, but there were also humans on the island, which I thought would be cool. And they just cut those out. And speaking of cut, they did a lot of cutting with this game to get it out as soon as they did, because Nintendo was worried because GameCube wasn't selling overly well, and they had to get their Mario game out, and they cut worlds from this game and added the blue coin stuff. That also happened with Wind Waker. They cut dungeons out of Wind Waker and added the Triforce Hunt stuff. So GameCube a lot of times felt like they were rushing things, and they didn't quite give you the quality that Nintendo was known for. And so I noticed that. For me, I noticed that. Now, if you're a young kid at the time, GameCube was your system, it was your first system, you had no problem with any of that. You didn't even notice it. But I was old enough to notice these things, and these things certainly bothered me and kind of took some notches, some kinks in the armor for Nintendo at the time. So while this is a good 3D platformer, it's not my favorite by far Mario 3D platformers. I would like a remaster. Would I like a remaster? Yes. If they tweaked it and fixed those things that I have issues with, totally. Like, because this game is gorgeous still, and I would love to see it HDified. So, yeah. All right. And now, I was going to say the game started it all, but no. It's the second game that started it all. And this is Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. Great game, great game. This is everybody's go-to Paper Mario game. Everybody loves this one because of the humor but all that stuff was present in the N64 game, but it really fleshed it out in this game. Beautifully, gorgeous game. I mean, what is it? I mean, Paper Mario. Like, what is there to say? And after this game, they kind of went off different routes for Paper Mario games. You got Super Paper Mario and Wii. You got what's the 3DS one? Paper Sticker Star, and so there's more gimmicks and stuff with the Wii one, and more gimmicks with the Sticker Star and whatnot. But I mean, I was fine. I thought I really liked Super Paper Mario a lot. I liked Sticker Star, so and then Color Splash. Color Splash was a little annoying with the having to what am I saying? Trying to say paint your cards and whatnot. But other than that, I really like that game too. But I understand some of the gripes where the variety in NPCs and whatnot wasn't as good as it was in the first two games. Or three games. Cause I think NPCs even in Super Paper Mario were pretty cool too. So, but yeah, Thousand Year Door. Everybody loves this game, right? So there you go. Let's see what you guys are saying. Missed anything? Master Yoshi said a few things here. Geist said, I can't believe they're getting a sequel for Geist. Even importantly, I read that already. Best first person ever. Geist, says Master Yoshi. I agree that there is something off about Blue Storm compared to the original on N64. I played N64 Wave Race a lot when I bought Blue Storm, and I don't know why I wasn't feeling the same way. So this is a phenomenon. Because it's one thing if one person says it, okay. Two people say it, and now you're getting somewhere. Three people feel the exact same way about Blue Storm. There's something off about that game, and we can't pinpoint what it is. So it's strange. It's a strange thing that we all have. So it's something really weird about that game. I don't know. Let's see. I'm back. Oh, Mackenzie's back. All right. What's up, Mackenzie? Looks like I missed Thousand Year Door. Yeah, just barely. I mean, I didn't say a whole lot about it because Paper Mario is Paper Mario, and this is the game that universally is universally loved by Paper Mario fans. So, I think Flood, you missed some comments I made about guys. Oh, I read those now. So there you go, Master Yoshi. I think Flood wasn't a problem in concept. The execution was poor. Yeah, I can agree with that. Like I said, I was personally annoyed by another backpack gimmick for a Mario character, but I could have got over that had Flood execution, like you said, had the Flood execution been Nintendo-like, but it wasn't. It felt unfinished at certain times, and like I said, that wasn't Nintendo-like to me. Thousand Year Door is very personal. It was the last game my grandpa got me before cancer took his life. I can never part with it. Grandpa and I were very close. I feel you on that. I don't have the exact same story as that, but I just have early memories of like my grandmother. I would play like Rambo 3 on Genesis and Shinobi 3, and I would sit there and listen to the BGM, the video game music. Just sit back and listen to the music. I would do that a lot. And I remember one time she was like, "Are you gonna play that game?" You're sitting there listening to her. You gonna play the game? She got annoyed with me just sitting and listening to the music. And the game for me that was like a coming of age game was Star Fox 64, because it was the game came out on my birthday. If I'm not mistaken, it was June 29th, 1997. Star Fox came out. It was the last game my mom bought for me. At that point, after that, I was buying my own games. That was like the last present, like toy-ish, if you will, young boy present that I got from my mom. And I was a man after that, pretty much. And so that was like a turning point in my gaming life. So that's why I remember Star Fox very vividly. So let's see. I would play through Sunshine again in HD, only if they have slightly better way of finding the blue coins with a light vibrator or whatever. Yeah, something like the what was the thing in not Twilight Princess? What Zelda game was that? Like the Stone of Agony or something from Ocarina of Time. I wasn't thinking about that, but something like that, where if you're close to it, there was an indicator of your vibration or something, or the tuner, basically sword thing that you could do in Skyward Sword, something like that, because those blue coins were just randomly thrown everywhere with no rhyme or reason, and that annoyed the crap out of me, and I just didn't care to find them all. That was the first Mario game that I did not 100% with Sunshine because I was so frustrated with it. So yeah, if they did stuff like that, quality of life stuff, I would totally be in. I bet you $100 Star Fox Assault is up next. You were so close, that Game Master. You were so close. And just in case you want to know how old I am 33, says Master Yoshi. You youngster. All right. Actually, the next game is not Star Fox Assault, but you're kind of close to the order of it. But it is Mario Kart Double Dash, everybody's favorite GameCube kart racing game. This game was dope. I played tons and maybe hundreds of hours of multiplayer in this game with 4 friends. And the Fortress and on the GameCube battles and all that stuff. Great multiplayer game. Great stuff. This one is who's the bonus disc? I guess there was a bonus disc. What was it? It was like a demo disc. Yeah, it was a demo disc that came with this version. Yeah, playable demos. It says it right there. You just read. But Mario Kart Double Dash was everybody's favorite Mario Kart, probably up until 8, and 8 Deluxe and whatnot. So the whole Switch cart, the Switch gimmick and whatnot was really good. This game was beautiful, still beautiful today. GameCube games, man. I mean, they were some of the best looking and best running games out there. 60 frames per second, just smooth, buttery, 60 FPS all over the place. And Double Dash was a great game. I mean, we used to, this is my college years, so we would drink and be merry and play this all through the night. This along with GoldenEye, or not GoldenEye, Nightfire. These were like the top games that we would sit around and play. Me and my college friends, and great stuff. Great memories. And there's another thing I just want to point out is that, people, talk crap about Nintendo fans, blah, 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 but Nintendo fans are some of those girl-getting fans out there. I certainly was, because we played the types of games that girls really love to play. And this is one of them. This wasn't, girls, at least in that era, maybe more so now, they play more stuff that the guys play, but they didn't care for the overly intimidating games and whatnot. Oh yeah, the Luigi's backwards. The L is backwards on his hat. I forgot about that. Yeah, the L. It's pretty funny. But us Nintendo fans got all the ladies because I used to have tons and tons of girls at my apartment, my college years, playing Double Dash all throughout the night, having a great time, good times. And they would play Nightfire as well. So I'm trying to Smash. We'll get to that, of course. All right. Next up is somebody's favorite over Assault, and that is Star Fox Adventures. Nope. Star Fox Adventures. I really wanted this game to stay Dinosaur Planet. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's probably best that it did become Star Fox Adventures. Um, because it was going to be, first it started off as Dinosaur Planet. This is a rare game, by the way. Started on N64. I remember seeing the early video footage of it and just falling in love. Um, Started off as Dinosaur Planet, and then it became Star Fox Adventures Dinosaur Planet because Miyamoto said this game's kind of bland. He basically was saying this game is kind of bland and it needs some oomph, it needs some pop. So let's put Star Fox in it. Let's put Fox McCloud as your lead character because I think his name was Rattle or something. The lead Fox guy, and they changed it because Miyamoto convinced them. They didn't want to do it at first, but it was probably for the best, at least for their game. But as far as Star Fox goes, this is not a Star Fox game. Like that's fine, and the Star Fox stuff that's in here is very shoehorned, not very good Star Fox stuff. I wish they would have just kept it out. I mean, just left it as an adventure game. Leave those between worlds, stupid on rails, Star Fox stuff out of this game. It was just a waste. They shouldn't have done it. Not only that, I don't want to spoil it, but the end fight is very, very annoying. I just say the end battle is very annoying because they boost up General Scales to be this big bad guy, and then you're totally, I was anyway, totally not happy on how this game ended. But this is an okay Zelda clone. The combat is pretty weak. The puzzle solving is pretty weak. It's a beautiful game. Like Star Fox has single, he has I'm trying to say, he has hair. He has hair physics and whatnot. Like he has all these single strands of hair, and it looks great. And it's 60 frames per second, and it's gorgeous. But I think the level design is kind of whack. Like I said, the puzzles aren't that great. The combat is whack. I don't like the weapon wheel or the weapon, how that's set up. I think it would have probably worked way better in 64 basically using the Ocarina of Time setup as far as how you select your weapons and whatnot. But this isn't a bad game. It's just bland. It's not a great Star Fox game. It's not a great adventure game as far as I'm concerned, because it's not up to the par of what it's trying to mimic, which is Zelda, and it's not doing that. So yeah, it's an okay game. And then there's this Star Fox Assault, and again, player's choice, because I had to rebuy this game because it's one of the games I traded away, or I don't think I gave this to siblings. I think I traded it for Wii stuff. This game was almost great. It had a kind of tumultuous, not tumultuous, but strenuous development cycle. Namco, right? Namco that made this game, right? Yeah, Namco. They were making this game and an arcade game at the same time. Then they ended up dropping the arcade game because they couldn't get this game right. So they needed the resources to get this game right. And like I said, this game was almost a great game. But this game was where Star Fox should have evolved to. And there's a lot of things I love in this. I don't love the art design, like of the R-Wings especially, because there's kind of an insect aesthetic in this game, because the insectoids are like the main bad guys and the main villain in this game. So I'm not overly a fan of the art design, but again, another 60 frames per second game that looks really good today, runs really good. But I like the whole branching path, the whole being able to jump out of vehicles on the fly and jump into other vehicles. I like that. I think they should have expanded on that. The controls aren't the best when you do a lot of that stuff. That's one of the major problems. But I like the expansiveness, the whole space opera-ness, because that's what Star Fox is supposed to be. It's supposed to be Star Wars with, animals, basically. And so I like the nature of that, and this really expanded on that. I love the orchestrated music. There's a lot of really good stuff in this game, and it's so decent. I thought it came out late again because of the development cycle wasn't the best. Um, I think it sold around 500,000 copies or something. Player's choice, that means you sold at least 500,000 copies. So, um, yeah, I wish Star Fox continued on this path instead of just trying to remake Star Fox 64 over again, which is basically a remake of Star Fox. So, anyway, I really like this game, and I wish future Star Foxes will go back to this and perfect what this was trying to do. All right. Let's see. I wasn't too big of a fan of the bulky feel of the carts, so it went back to the good old style with the DS Mario Kart. I was missing. Yeah, Mario Kart DS was for a long time my favorite Mario Kart. So I feel you on that one, Master Yoshi. That's my favorite Star Fox on GameCube, says the Game Master, and you're talking about adventures, aren't you? I'm happy for you. Mackenzie Peters, very unpopular opinion, but I love Star Fox Adventures and Star Fox Assault. As a kid, I never played a game where it felt like I was on a journey. Again, you're very young. I understand your feelings on Star Fox Adventures. Star Fox Assault to me was the last good Star Fox game or great Star Fox game. Although let me take that away, because Star Fox, oh my gosh, what's the DS one? Star Fox, blah. That was a good game because that harkened back to Star Fox 2, which we never got here, which is kind of weird until recently. So they took some mechanics from Star Fox 2 and put them into Star Fox, Armada. Is that right? Is it Star Fox Armada? I don't know. I can't remember. I think that's right. The DS one. So that's cool. I beat Star Fox Adventures more than 10 times. I still have a huge crush on Crystal. I have a massive collection of art of her now. All right, Crystal. You're one of those guys now. Yeah, I mean, if you like Star Fox Adventures, who am I to say that you shouldn't like it? It just didn't work for me. As a huge Zelda fan, it wasn't holding up to the level of the game it was trying to mimic. It was clearly trying to be like Star Fox with Zelda elements. So, Master Yoshi. Let's see. I actually wanted to get Star Fox Assault because it looked like Jet Force Gemini to me. Yeah, Jet Force Gemini controls better than Star Fox Assault, but yeah, it does have that kind of Jet Force Gemini elements to it as well. I actually wanted to read that already. Read that already as well. I think no, this is a new one. I didn't finish that. Okay, great adventure game for a kid like me, says Mackenzie, who never got to play adventure games on PS1 or N64. Okay, so that's another perspective. So I had a lot of great adventuring on the PS1 and 64, and so I wanted more. I wanted better by the time I got to GameCube, and Star Fox Adventures didn't really do that for me. Crystal wore too much clothes in the game, but she still looked hot. I got lots of art of her in her assault costume as well. I just prefer the butt flap. All right, Master Yoshi. Mackenzie, we need Star Fox, the Aperoids strike back. Oh, the Aperoids. That's what they were called. I was calling them insectoids or something. But yeah, I was not a fan of the art design of the Aperoids, personally. But that was my only major gripe with how it looked. So. All right. Last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. F-Zero GX. This game is hard as balls, but great because you will get better at it. You will. I won't say you will master it, but you will get really good, and you'll get further, and you'll unlock a lot more things, and you'll have a lot of fun. And this game is super fast, and it's gorgeous, 60 frames per second, balls to the walls. I love F-Zero GX. I might like F-Zero X a little more, but F-Zero GX is great. It's greatness. It's fast, furious, gorgeous, and F-Zero. And it's the last F-Zero game we got. Yeah, GameCube was the last F-Zero game we got. We even got an F-Zero game on, it was an F-Zero GP or something on Game Boy Advance. But this was it. How do you stop here with this greatness? I don't know. Drives me crazy. What are you doing, Nintendo? Come on. Make us a new F-Zero game. Stop playing around. But this is great. And of course, I mean, we're going to get into some Zelda greatness here. And some of these aren't traditional games, technically, on the GameCube. Let me fix this before. Yeah, it's really in good shape. I haven't looked at this case in a long time. But, I mean, the Wind Waker. I mean, come on. This game, this wasn't the game we wanted, but it was the game we needed. A lot of people wanted a realistic Zelda. I was kind of expecting that myself after Ocarina and Majora's Mask, and then that Zelda demo they showed at Space World. This is before we realized that Zelda demos didn't mean a whole lot. They were just, you know, there to show you what the hardware kind of can do. And again, this game, let's get the bad stuff out of the way, which is that. And Link is a 10-year-old kid with blinky eyes. And the Triforce shards search was tacked on because they had to cut the game. They had to cut the game to get it out in time, the time they wanted to get out, and so they, you know, they took those. I think they said they took aspects of the dungeons from this game and put them in Twilight Princess and other Zelda games. But you know, the minute I played this game, all those problems I had when it went away. This game is beautiful. Visually stands up. You know, obviously there's the HD remaster of it on Wii U. So I probably will never play this version again unless I had to. And because the quality of life stuff is great on that Wii U version. But this game is gorgeous to this day, even without the HD, and great story. And yeah, that was one of the things that the visual style allowed, was a really cool, epic story. And you a care for the characters that you probably didn't have until this version, because they emoted, you know, they had, you know, you could see in the face their emotions and stuff. And this was really the first game you really got that stuff. So first Zelda game. So let's open it up. I wonder if I still have my beautiful Wind Waker GameCube manual is still in there. Looks really good. I wonder if the inserts. This is a complete copy. So there are all the inserts and stuff. I don't know why that has that on there. That's weird. But yeah, and then they show you how to team up with Tingle for the stuff you can do if you link this up to, which game was it? On the Game Boy Advance. And so you had the Tingle tuner. Cool stuff, man. Where they will link your Game Boy Advance with the link cable up to your GameCube. So, all right. Oh yeah, I just wanted to point this out since I have it open. That every GameCube game came with this slot for a memory card, because the memory cards were so small that they expected you to go out and buy a memory card for every game. Yeah, right, Nintendo. Not happening. All right. And then here is the promotional disc. The Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition, which is kind of weird. I mean, they called it that because you got this because you are... this is a Nintendo Power exclusive, I believe. This one was. And I'm sure the game is probably still in there. Yeah. With an insert of some kind. But I don't remember. There's the game in there. And this is Zelda, the original one, Zelda 2, and Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask were on here. So that's cool. But there's also, I mean, you already know this game. I don't need to explain any more about that. This is still in pretty good shape. There's also this, which has Majora's Mask and, I mean, not Majora's Mask, but it has Ocarina of Time and the Master Quest. And it also has demos on here, as you can see on the back there. It's got demos for F-Zero, 1080, Avalanche, which I never got, Wario World, which I love, Metroid Prime, and what is that? Link to the Past, Four Swords, okay, Adventures. So yeah, this I think was a pre-order bonus for, I want to say this was a pre-order bonus for Wind Waker, but I can't remember. I remember what this is from, but I don't remember what this is from. I think it's a pre-order bonus. Obviously, it's not for resale, so it came with something. It says it right there. They both say it. One says it on the front, not for resale. But I remember this being a Nintendo Power thing. So there they both are. So I'll say right now that you're not going to see Metroid Prime 1 or 2, and it's not because I didn't own them, because I do, or I did, but I ended up trading them at some point because the trilogy, and I got a good price for them. Something I couldn't get today, actually. I think I sold them for a pretty penny, or I traded them for a pretty penny at the time. So I don't have Metroid Prime. I'm going to rebuy those because I feel like I need to have those on GameCube. They're not that expensive to rebuy, so I'll get them and put them back in the collection. So I don't have those, but I have the trilogy on Wii. So that's why I don't have those on GameCube anymore. But I was there day one for both of those games, so, and I love them to death. All right, so here we have a super duper collectible game, and that is Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. The game isn't in here, is it? No. But the manual is. Look how shiny and clean that thing is. Still clean. This is a really nice copy. I'm very proud of it. The game is on the spool, like I said. I probably maybe pulled this out once or twice. Let's do that. I haven't. It's so like tight because I haven't really opened this. I like to keep them for collector purposes. I don't really do too much with my manuals. Let me see what you're saying before I move on. You guys have said a lot since the last thing. Okay, so Mackenzie, the Dark Souls of racing games, and it's made by Sega. You're talking about F-Zero GX, obviously. Did you show the greatest GameCube game of all time yet, Metroid Prime? No, I don't know if you missed my explanation of it. I no longer have GameCube Metroid Prime. I feel terrible for coming on here, showing a collection without Metroid Prime in it. But like I said, I ended up trading them later on, and I got Prime Trilogy on Wii, and I also have it on Wii U because I downloaded it for like $10. So I have it digitally as well. So I never ended up going back and rebuying Metroid Prime. But again, you gotta have GameCube, you gotta have Prime, and that's why I'm gonna go back and rebuy them. But yeah, Fire Emblem, you guys all know what Fire Emblem is. This game wasn't as popular on the GameCube yet. It was popular in Japan, this series, but not so much in the West. It wasn't until Fire Emblem Awakening that Fire Emblem got popular in the West, and that's a great game. But this game is very collectible. I think this game complete will run you $250 or more. That's just a guess. I'm not really sure. I know it's around $200, somewhere around there, $200 to $250. So I'm happy to have this in my collection only because I like Fire Emblem. But it's also cool when you find out that a game that you own is very collectible as a collector. All right, and we're gonna end this off with one of the greatest fighting games of all time. I mean, come on, Super Smash Melee. This was my favorite Smash game for a long time. A lot of people still prefer this. You have the modders that have done Project M with the Wii version, which is Brawl, and they kind of mixed them together with Melee, and so you have that aesthetic. And this game is still played at tournaments and all that stuff. You have Wave, all that stuff. You know what I'm talking about. That is in this game. The strategy. I don't get into all that, but Smash on N64 was great. One of the best commercials of any game of all times. And this was modern Smash. This is the Smash game that everybody mostly remembers as being their first. And for good reason. For me, it was N64. I played the hell out of Smash on N64, but obviously this was the most popular one up until Smash Ultimate, I would say. Smash for Wii U was pretty popular as well, but I think it still never surpassed this game as far as popularity until Smash Ultimate. And these are all fantastic games. Even the Black Sheep, which is Brawl, all great games. So, yeah, that is it. That is my last game for my collection. That is 112 games I've shown you. I'm not going to be satisfied with my GameCube until I reach about 125 or so, because there's some games I would like to add and re-add to my collection. Like I said, Metroid Prime 1 and 2 has to come back in my collection for sure. I'm forgetting some games. Monkey Ball, Super Monkey Ball was a I don't think I got it. Yeah, I did buy it launch. Super Monkey Ball was a launch game that I ended up giving up to the siblings. I'm sure it's in a freaking trash heap somewhere because they didn't take care of that stuff. But I'm going to rebuy that and bring that back to the collection. Those games are getting expensive too, believe it or not. Super Monkey Ball and Super Monkey Ball 2. My goodness, I saw prices going up for that. I wish they hadn't brought the whack one to the game or the Switch, which is like the Wii one. I think they brought to the Switch. Why did they bring 1 or 2 or 1 and 2 together as a collection remastered? That would have been way better. So I'm gonna read what you guys have to say before I get out of here, because it is late. All right, we're getting late anyway. Let's see. Mackenzie, Wind Waker T, you are making me teary-eyed. I never get teary-eyed. Yeah, I got teary-eyed earlier too when I was talking about Dave Mirra, so welcome. Let's see. If Nintendo can't give us a new F-Zero game, give it to Shinin. Yes, I mean, that's what everybody's been saying for a while, since, Fast Racing. If you're not going to make one, let Shinin make it. And I mean, the budget is going to be super low. Shinin, they're really good at making high quality stuff for nothing. So give F-Zero to them. Let them make a new F-Zero game. Put it online, because Fast Racing Neo online ran really well. I don't remember any problems with that game online. And this is what do they have? 8 employees, 8 developers, 8 designers, in that company? Not even. I don't think it's that many. It might be less. So it's a no-brainer to me. Come on, Nintendo. Let's see. Don't get me wrong, says Master Yoshi. I beat Star Fox 64 probably more than 10 times every scenario, and I loved it. I just enjoyed a nice little adventure after that. You're talking about Star Fox Adventures. Yeah, I mean, I probably beat Star Fox Adventure or Star Fox 64 100 times. I'm no kidding. I played the crap out of that game, and I love Star Fox that way. For me, like I said, Star Fox Adventures just didn't work as well to the standards I was expecting, because it was supposed to be Star Fox with, Zelda elements. And, some of the stuff was there, but a lot of the stuff wasn't. It wasn't the most polished game either, because Rare was, they were halfway out the door finishing that game. You know, they were headed to Microsoft, so there were some polish issues, but it's a fine game. It's fine for me. If you love it, great. I have no problem with anybody loving that game. I get it. For when I first got it, I liked it a lot, but it over time it didn't hold up as well. I started to see the chinks in the armor, as you will. It's super rare and expensive, but someday I would love to find the Metroid Prime Wind Waker case combo. Wow, I never even heard of that. Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I've seen it before on eBay, but I don't remember how much it was. So I'm sure it is expensive. Master Yoshi, okay, good. I didn't miss the best GameCube game, F-Zero GX. It's literally the greatest video game of all time, 100%, and I still play a lot of it to this day. Nintendo, please give me a remake or a new installment. I agree with you 100%, Master Yoshi. I don't know if I'd call it the greatest game of all time, but I really love F-Zero GX, and Nintendo's playing around and not making a sequel or a remaster or something. T, this video made me oh, I read that already. I keep reading that. Mackenzie. The character I used the most in Melee was Young Link, so of course I'm super happy about him being back in Ultimate. Yes, that is great. I used him a lot. I don't know if I used him the most, but I definitely used Young Link a lot. Mackenzie Peters, all GameCube games are getting very expensive. Are they? I better hurry up and get those last 10 games I want to get. Master Yoshi, but Crystal's butt flap though. He's still on that. Mackenzie, I love my Miyamoto, but he said in an interview he will never release F-Zero game without some innovation. Miyamoto, stop the gimmicks. Not everything has to have gimmicks to be fun. And here's the thing, I understand Miyamoto where he's coming from because that's his thing. He wants to have new stuff for a game, but this is a racing game. How many Forzas are there? How many World Racing Championships are there? How many Gran Turismos are there? They don't need innovation. Just make it better. Make the visuals better. Do something better with online. Add us new tracks. That's all you need to do for a racing game. It's just a racing game at the end of the day. At its core, it's a racing game. There are the different elements to it. It's a futuristic racer. There's the whole energies pool thing and all that stuff. Fine. But at the end of the day, it's a racing game. You don't need to innovate a racing game. You just need to update a racing game. So yeah, there's that. And with that, I'm going to call it. It's a wrap. This was dope. I thought this would last a lot longer, but like I said, I mean it still lasted long. But my Switch video I think lasted longer than this, or it's actually close, and it has we're talking 30 less games almost on Switch than I have on GameCube. So for the time to be comparable, I think I was talking more about like peripherals and whatnot. So that stretched out the time of my Switch video, but yeah. So as you can see, I didn't, my GameCube collection is completely purchased by me. And there's snafu during my Sega Saturn collection, where I had some guy come in and act like I don't know video games or something. Like I don't need anybody's help to be a fan of video games. I didn't need what was given to me by this person to be able to purchase these things. I have plenty of video game history within myself, and like I said, a lot of the games, there's a good amount of games that were directly from him, but I already had my own Sega Saturn. I'm not gonna get into that too much, but I was already a Sega fan beforehand. And actually, you can go look at my catalog of videos. Go look at my catalog of videos. I've done videos on Sega stuff, and I've shown Sega games and whatnot before I got that stuff from this person. So you can clearly see that I was already on that Sega thing. But anyway, as you can look at my GameCube collection, you can see this was not from anybody. This is me buying this stuff through the years. I think about 9 or 10 of these games I bought within the last 5 years. But other than that, these are games I bought during the GameCube era or just right after into Wii, because obviously the Wii you could play GameCube games on it. So I was still once in a while buying GameCube games to play uh, uh, because obviously you can play them backwards compatible. And when my Wii came, I kind of put my GameCubes away because I could play stuff on Wii. And then I figured out certain games, and all the games worked, like Teen Titans and stuff. Looked like it was going to work, but then it stopped working. But it was like a small percentage. We're talking like 1% of GameCube titles don't work on Wii or have issues. So, but yeah, that is my GameCube collection. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't. Share the video with other Nintendo fans who may appreciate all this GameCube goodness I gave you guys. I appreciate everybody for rocking out. Whoever jumped in and had to jump out, appreciate you. All those guys and gals out there who watched the video all the way through, was here from the beginning to the end. That's great too. Appreciate that. Let me see if I can find. I want to give another shout back to Good Money Now again for that donation. Appreciate that. And yeah, so let's see the last couple things you guys are saying here. Let's see, F-Zero GX. Let me in. All right, so Master Yoshi says F-Zero GX is the greatest futuristic racing game ever made, beating out any new game, including Fast. Yeah, I mean, I love Fast, but it's no F-Zero. Let's see, Mackenzie, the GameCube may not have turned out as well as Nintendo hoped, but for me, it will always be my favorite Nintendo system. Even though I'm now, as a PlayStation fan, Nintendo is what made me a gamer, and that's cool. Like, again, it doesn't matter how well the system sold in the market, and if you love the damn system, love the damn system. I love the Sega Saturn. I love the Dreamcast. Those are two of the worst selling consoles as far as like the major game makers, as far as being in that class. Obviously there's consoles that sold worse than that, but I mean as far as a company that was one of the major players like Sega was, 9 million and 8 million consoles for each of those sales for each of those consoles, not very good. But I love those systems to death. Saturn is just right up there under the N64 is my favorite. So it doesn't matter how well it did. If it did well for you, that's all that matters. That's what makes the console your favorite. Is it's your favorite. So I'm sad that you went over to the Sony side. No, kidding. But yeah, I mean, I understand completely, and no problems there. Mackenzie, thank you, Nintendo GameCube, for all the memories and for memories to come, more memories to come. Yeah, that's what's great about gaming, especially retro gaming, is that you remember all the stuff that you were doing at the time. That's one of the reasons I love my my collections and stuff. It's one of the reasons I love it, because it reminds me, it keeps memories fresh in me and what I was doing and during those years. So that's great, and you can make new memories. I'm gonna get my kids into GameCube more, because I don't think. Well, my son really loves Ocarina of Time. He never played it on N64 though. He's played it on the 3DS. So he's a huge fan of Ocarina of Time. He's a Zelda fan. Trying to get him to be a Mario fan. So, but I think GameCube is probably as far back as they'll go as far as being able to be able to play it for their age and be able to. It's modern enough for them to play. So new memories will be created from that, and they'll talk about 20 years from now how they, Dad showed me the GameCube and we had a great time playing it and all that stuff, and they can get off Fortnite for once and get off Minecraft. There's a lot of games. My kids drive me insane because they play like 5 games all the time. And it's just like, I wanted to play everything. As you can see here, I wanted to play everything that I could play that interests me. And it drives me insane. I kind of yelled at them today about it. It's like, you guys only play 5 games, 4 games all the time. And it's just like, there's way too much stuff. You guys need to expand your horizons, play more games. So, Inglorious Bastard says, peace. Peace out to you. Master Yoshi, PlayStation fan, okay. The thing I migrated to alongside my Nintendo love is PC. So Master Yoshi. Master Yoshi, my PC puts the PS5 to shame graphically. Mine doesn't, but maybe at some point it will. I'm just so annoyed with my PC right now. Buy Big T, do a Mizzah Tee voice send off. Okay, I'll do that just for you, Master Yoshi. The day I have kids, I will show them my GameCube. I will show them what games were like when they were a complete package. For real. My kids don't really understand that yet as far as complete. Like I said, they're very content with playing. Minecraft is different because there's a lot of content in that. But like, you know, Fortnite, it's just like the same map over and over again. And there's not a whole lot to it. So they don't really understand value in video games just yet. But, you know, the GameCube will be a good measure for them once they understand, you know, games like that. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you next time. I'm probably going to make a one-off video talking about Sega and their revolutionary, you know, their what do you call it? Their revolutionary announcement that wasn't revolutionary at all. But anyway, that's it, fools. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace out. This is awkward.